is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of After Ahsoka to talk about this banger of an episode. I am here with Mike. Welcome back, Mike. And I'm here with a guest, good old Spotchka. What is going on, fellas?
What is going on, bros? How you guys doing? Mike, good to see you, man. It's been a minute since I've streamed with you, so glad to stream with you again. Steve, always good to see you again, brother.
Yep.
What an episode. So thank you for inviting me on to talk about it, man.
Yeah, dude, happy to have you on, man. We're waiting on the Jedi. He's running a little bit late, but he should be here shortly. I don't know if you guys saw my intro. For some reason, my intro gets all messed up when I try to go live. So if you guys saw that, I apologize for that. For some reason, the transition gets a little wonky, but
you look good, man. You look good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Anyways, happy to see you guys.
Man, I'm excited to talk.
New pickups lately? Spotchka, yeah. I'll give you the floor because you're the guest, bro.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I recently picked up Bloodsport from Thunder Toys. Waiting for that to get arrived. It was supposed to be here today, which I was going to show on stream, but I think it got damaged in transit, so hopefully it gets here next week before the trip. Then I also got Peacemaker from Hot Toys, the release 2 days ago, so very excited for that. Star Wars figures, I'm hoping these Kenobi figures, like we were talking behind the scenes earlier, man, I kind of pushed maybe like January or something, but
I know
coming out soon, man. I don't know. Kind of impulse. What about you, Mike?
On Monday, arriving the Mark 85 battle damage.
Oh, they fixed that issue for you?
They fixed that issue. Yeah, they sent me the wrong item, and I sent it back to them. So Sideshow's great with that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean that's all I have inbound. Right, actually, the Bat Pod is coming next week too.
Ooh, nice.
So that'll be cool. And then I had a waitlist conversion for the Bat Cycle from the Batman. So I jumped on that.
Yeah, so did Graham. He also did.
I've been debating that one for a minute.
I'm probably gonna pick that one up too.
It looks so sick. Would you pair it with the inner one, Steve?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I would just pose it next to it. You know what I mean?
I mean, Steve, I know that you picked up something that you would like to share, right? Because that was a pretty good deal, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like this. There's like this deal. If you go on pop culture, there's a deal with Echo and Hunter. Like it comes out to like basically around 300 USD if you shipped for both of them together. Like it's a pretty crazy deal right now.
That's great.
And then unfortunately, I was supposed to get Crosshair from a company that it didn't work out. So but I just want to give a shout out to Brick. I don't know if he's in here, but he had a buddy who was actually his waitlist converted on Crosshair, and he reached out to me and gave me his waitlist conversion. So that was cool. Very, very cool of him. So yeah, Crosshair, which was something like basically I already had paid off, and then the company was like,
thanks for playing.
Yeah, the company was like, our staffer didn't put in the initial bulk order for the figure. Well, so everybody that ordered from them did not get it, is my understanding.
So thinking back on it now, I have an explanation from that, because without naming the company's name, I got an R2-D2 from Attack of the Clones from them, and they explained to me that they only get like 4 or 5 of these releases in the warehouse, and that's it. They don't order anymore. Even if it's one that sells out, they don't order anymore. It's just because their contract, some weird contract they have with Sideshow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's shitty on their part.
Here, I'm going to transition because Graham just got
too.
in here. Sorry, you guys keep talking. I'll put
Yeah, I ordered a bunch. I ordered 8 battle droids, and I went a little crazy. And I ordered 2 from one company, and they were like, "Oh, we couldn't fulfill our allotment, so we're going to refund you." I'm like, "What is this, an airline? You oversell, and then like, what the hell?"
Yeah.
So I had to fill mine up too. Founders breakfast. No, not breakfast. I love breakfast. This is the French toast bastard. If you guys ever come across it, it's fantastic.
Ooh.
Yeah,
French toast
sounds fun.
Yeah,
I love that Metasaur stuff, man.
The Jedi is here. Welcome in, sir.
Hey, everybody.
What's
Is
up?
my mic okay? Do I sound all right?
Oh yeah, you sound good.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Almost
You
2.
sound perfect.
Good to be here. Sorry I was late.
Yep, you are all good.
Yeah, Spotchka and Mike got their drinks, and here I'm trying to be a good boy drinking water.
Me too. Oh, All right.
Had to bust up his spot. Yeah.
So maybe I might have to go get something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But good to see you guys.
Yeah,
See
man.
you, bro. You
Yeah,
too.
welcome back. We're talking about our collecting woes, which you already know about what happened with my crosshair that I was already pretty much paid off. Yeah, and the company basically was like, yeah, we didn't place the order. The person who was supposed to place the bulk order did not. And then they referred to me as Blake in my email. And I was like, I'm
Blake
not
Sneaker?
Blake. I was like, I'm not Blake. Are you sure that my order's canceled too? But they took care of it and I got refund and everything. I don't want to call the company. I'm not going to put the company on blast, but I'm a little nervous because like a week ago, my CAD Banes also paid off and they were like, CAD's sitting right here in the warehouse. Like once your final payment goes through, like it's going to get shipped out. So that should be in a couple days. So I'm hoping that works out okay.
Speaking of
We
pickups,
shall see.
anybody else get Sabine or what?
Oh yeah.
That was day one for me. I had to
Yeah.
do it.
Yes. Yes.
I will TBA it when it comes out, but
Yes,
at the
I did.
moment,
Same here.
Yeah.
Yep. I pre-ordered right away. I
had to
pre-ordered
send
when
a
I woke up.
message. Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Yeah. I pre-ordered when I woke up. I just want to talk briefly. I just want to mention, if you guys haven't already, I put up a channel announcement about a partnership that I now have with Underground Figures. So that's actually where I woke up when I saw Sabine dropped. I actually woke up and emailed Ray at Underground Figures and I was like, hey, Sabine dropped, or the announcement dropped this morning. Like, can you just put me down for a pre-order once you have it up on the site? And then sure enough, a couple hours later, he got back to me. But yes, I'm partnering with Underground Figures. If you guys have seen my content, you already know I've talked about them frequently. It's a company that I really like to use in Rhode Island. I know a couple of you have actually already reached out and ordered, I see some people in the chat that I'll get to who've already reached out and ordered some stuff from them and mentioned me. So I really appreciate that. Helps the channel, helps me out too, to continue to, grow, get some figures and grow my content. So appreciate you guys doing that. I really do not think you guys will be disappointed. So go check out that video on my channel. It's 5 minutes long. It runs through the website. It's really nice because they have a no NRD pre-order policy. All you have to do is have an account on their website. So go there, make an account, and then whenever you want to pre-order, you can just email the email address at their store, let them know what you want to pre-order, and you're put on a list, and then you don't get invoiced until it's ready to ship. You don't have to pay an NRD. It's really good. Everything comes double boxed, free of charge. It's 5%. Like the prices are 5% off of MSRP. So it's really nice. I've been getting a lot of figures from them, and I just, super happy to announce that I'm, have this partnership with them. So I just want to do a quick plug for that. Go check them out. If you guys have any questions, you can always hit me up as always. Probably easiest to hit me up on Instagram. With that being said, guys, Graham, did you pick up anything?
Peacemaker's incoming.
Yeah,
That's
Peacemaker's
about it.
incoming. Yeah.
Oh, man.
So that'll be just a couple weeks away because I got the free shipping from Toys by an Agent. So tried to keep it as cheap as possible, and I'll just have to
Nice.
wait a little bit of extra time, but I'll still probably get it long before Sideshow. So
Nice.
How are you going to display it? Because I know you said you didn't keep the King Shark anymore, so
yeah, I think I'm just going to put him next to Harley.
it's a good
And
idea.
I think he's good enough to stand alone too. I think with Eagly
agree.
on his arm, I think he's gonna be good. So
Eagly.
Good luck with the gun
Lord's good.
removal,
Love
man.
it. Yeah, you'll
Yeah,
get that gun out.
Dante Manahawk Collectibles said in his video that it was just pressure, and then some people are saying heat guns. So we'll see. I'm sure
both.
I'll kind of give it a little push, see how secure it is, but it's weird if they glued it. I'm surprised like nothing on the pistol itself would be like gunked up or ruined or something.
Right.
It'd be interesting.
Especially the clip was removable, so that was hilarious that they glued it to the
Yeah, Hot Toys hooked it up. They knew what they were doing.
And gave you a
Something
suppressor for it.
Something.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, something
It's
interesting.
nuts.
But
It is,
very cool,
yeah.
man. That's one that I'm going to keep my eye on because I think
Great.
Yeah, other than that, I've been a good boy this week. So what'll next week bring, I don't know, but we'll take it a
Yeah.
week at a time.
Yeah, we take it a day at a time, dude. Let's get to the chat here. We got Collector Joey. I'm waiting in the chats for 11 hours. Joey, if you are actually in here, still appreciate you tuning in, bro. Spotchka, an episode to be remembered. Yes, dude. I'm happy to have you on, man. Thanks for joining us. I know you're a huge Star Wars fan, and we've obviously chatted a lot in the past. So, what better episode so far to bring you on for, man? Excited to hear your thoughts on this one.
I appreciate y'all bringing me on.
I've been waiting here since Tuesday. late for the stream, but it's okay. It's okay. Not a big deal. Reverse Deals in the house. What is up, dude? Steve ain't even excited about this episode. Yeah, I was on Copper Drop last night. Just had to stop myself from talking too much about this episode because it's so much to say about it.
A lot to cover, man.
Mrs. Spotchka's in the house. Let's go. This is going to be an awesome episode. Yes. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cage is in the house. What is up, Cage? Excited for this one. Hope everyone is doing well. And don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, please. Thank you, bro. Mike is saying, what's up, everybody? Episode was kind of decent. Cage, decent 5 out of 10. Action in the box all the way from Brazil. What is up, man? Hello, my good friends, collectors. Yes, welcome in. Brick is here. Let's go. What is up, Brick? Brick, I don't know if you were here when I was talking about it, but I just want to give you a shout out for hooking me up because one of your buddies was selling a crosshair because his waitlist converted from Sideshow. So yeah, like I was talking about, I had my crosshair paid off, but there was an issue with the place that I had ordered from. Unfortunately, I was late getting this one. I wasn't sure if I was going to get it, and I decided I was going to after he went waitlist. So by that time, Underground didn't have them, and everybody really didn't have them, so I missed out. But his buddy hooked me up, so I appreciate that, man. Super excited to get that, and he should be shipping soon, I would think. So very cool, man. Thank you for doing that. Sean is in the house. What's up, everyone? What is up?
It's a cool name.
Yes, cool name. Jedi291 is in the house. Hey, guys, excited to talk about Ahsoka. It's the best Star Wars that Disney has made. Dang. We had some blessings. Mrs. Spotchka says, yes, Peacemaker, love Eagly. I love the name Eagly. It's just funny. The whole
like something
movie,
you'd come up with as a kid. Like,
it's it is.
Do you have a daughter named Daughtery?
It's just hilarious.
I laughed every time I heard that name. It was great.
Yeah. Daniel Brancato's in the house. Hello, everyone. What is up, Daniel? Thank you so much for being here, bro. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. I'm so excited to hear all of your guys' thoughts and chat as well. Chat's always getting into it, and I feel like this episode, there's going to be a lot to be said from everybody. With that being said, Spotchka, I'm going to give you the floor first here because you're our special guest on the show. You can give us your general impressions of the episode here, and then give us your out of 10 rating. You can do it kind of however you wish. Just maybe save some of your main details for once we start doing scene breakdowns. But yeah, what were your impressions of the episode, man?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, dude. Immediately after watching this episode, I think as somebody said it on Copper Drop yesterday, it brought me back to that kind of No Way Home feeling, that kind of endorphin rush you got in your head. You're like, holy crap, what am I watching? Dave Filoni is blessing my eyes right now on the screen. I saw a bunch of memes where people were like, the Ahsoka saying, this is the Clone Wars was us as the fans, and Anakin was Dave Filoni saying, yeah, no kidding. But like, as a whole, last night I said 8 out of 10. Rewatching the episode today, I'm going to say 10 out of 10. This episode is exactly not only what fans were asking for, but the question, I feel like the thumbnail I've seen so often come up in the last several years is Star Wars is dead, right? Or Disney can't save Star Wars. This is proving them wrong. This is an episode that, we said it yesterday. The only thing I had wrong with it was I wish there was more. But solid 10 out of 10. Exactly what I wanted as somebody who grew up on the Cartoon Network era of Clone Wars. So 100%.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm glad you changed your score. No, I'm just messing. I could see why people wouldn't rate it a 10. Maybe there will be some people in the chat who didn't rate it a 10 out of 10, but I really haven't heard any like too much negative stuff about this episode. Mike, what are your thoughts on this one, man?
No Sabine, 1 out of 10. I'll forgive him for that. She's in another galaxy. What can I do? No, it's a 10 out of 10. I mean, I don't care. There might be flaws. It doesn't matter to me. This hit me on an emotional level. And I think logically throughout my day, all the time, when I'm watching an epic fantasy, I want to be engrossed and moved emotionally. And this fired on all cylinders in that regard. And 10 out of 10, man. Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, bro. The Jedi himself. What do you think, man?
It was really good. Like these guys said, it was very emotional. It was very cool to see more new things brought to live action. Um, the flow was great. The show continues to impress. Every episode gets better than the one previous, and the score is still great. I would give it a 9.8, and the only reason that I would give it a 9.8 is because I just wanted more. Like that's the only negative that I could really get out of it. I know I watched Star Wars Theory because I wanted to see what he said too. Like, he's the ultimate Star Wars fan. So, and really what he said he didn't like about it was the lightsaber fights, and then Hera being able to hear the lightsabers. He thought that should just be for Force users. But those are nitpicks to me. Like those, neither of those bothered me. So, and I couldn't find anything on my own that I really didn't like about it. Even the CGI of Anakin was really good. Like, so it was super. It was super emotional. And I every week I keep saying I want to watch these over again so that I can come in with fresh. And this was the first one that got me to do that, like actually before this show. So I've seen it a couple times now. So that's how good it was.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome,
Good
man.
answer, man. I love that.
Yeah. It's hard. I feel like, yeah, like everything about this episode, I feel like anything you say is, it's pretty much a nitpick. Like, yeah, I felt like I agree with all of, everything you guys are saying. I mean, yeah, this was a 10 for me. And I feel like this was just, you wanted more because the hits just kept coming the whole entire episode. I can't remember an episode that I've watched like in recent past where every single scene that they were doing was just like, it was building and building and every single one of them was good. And like, just like, I don't know if I can even name an episode that gave me chills so many times as I was watching it, because there were so many moments like that just touched on so many different things throughout Star Wars. Obviously, the Clone Wars stuff and everybody for Anakin. But yeah, it was just a phenomenal episode. I'm super excited to break it down and talk about it scene by scene. But yeah, super happy with it. Just want to get a couple ratings here in the chat. 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10, 9.5, 10 out of 10. Like, I feel like I haven't seen anybody who's, low on the episode. The Hera thing is interesting, Graham, about like hearing the lightsabers. We'll talk about that. And then before we get started breaking down the episode, Spotchka, I just want you to tell the people here, what's your history with Star Wars? Let us know what content have you consumed here, like before watching the show.
Before watching the show, pretty much everything besides that Star Wars Resistance series that was like supposed to be like intertwined with the sequel. Fuck that. No, nobody watched that. Watch Rebels, watch Clone Wars, watch that god awful Clone Wars Cartoon Network movie. Seeing on the original trilogy. I grew up on the prequels, but I appreciated the original trilogy more as a kid. I was as you know, as a big horror guy, I love practical effects. I love when you're able to tell that like artists made something in a movie and it's being presented in your face and it looks believable. And there's something about the original trilogy that's still timeless. And I think somebody said that we were talking about the Obi-Wan versus Vader fight, right? Even now, it's sure slow paced or dated. It's still impactful and it still just hits every single time you watch it. So Star Wars for me, I've always been a fan. Here and there as a teenager, you know how it is when you go through your phases. But as a kid, I had the Revenge of the Sith toys and had Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting on Mustafar. I would bring them with me to my mom's work and play with them. And this episode brought every single one of my nostalgic memories back as a child, especially with Anakin, right? Like the way he's pacing towards her. We'll get into it later, but it brought back a lot of cool little edit memories. Like, back in the day, in early days of YouTube, people would make edits of Anakin Skywalker being a badass marching up the Jedi Temple. So it gave me those vibes again, which I appreciated.
Yeah, it had like these little like these flashes of Vader and stuff, and I feel like that's the type of stuff you see in fan edits for sure. Where like they're blending all the different mediums of Star Wars together.
Right.
With that being said, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to Beskar Kid who's in the chat. What is up, dude? The best Star Wars ever shown in theaters, dude. I'm pretty sure he went to go see it in one of the select theaters. I can imagine that was incredible because I felt like when I was watching this that it was like a movie. It was like so cinematic. We've been talking about the cinematics for the show have just been so damn good, and this was like, just I'll kind of get into it as we start breaking down these scenes here. So like just this opening scene with like the flyover where they're just going through all the cinematic stuff, I thought was like just right off the bat was really cool. Where we get the trees, it goes right, from the water. I just thought all of this stuff was
gorgeous.
Yeah, it just looks incredible. Then you get the waves, and then it shows like this close up of the map getting destroyed. I thought the way the episode started, but it was interesting because usually when the episode drops, I read the thumbnail and it said like Hera goes on a daring rescue mission. For a moment, I was like, what does that mean? Like, is this going to be like Hera's going to go do some like weird adventure thing? And I was like, no, that really wouldn't like make any sense. But I'm like, because they do episodes like that where they do stuff. So I was like, it'd be interesting to see like what they're talking about as far as her going on a rescue mission. And obviously now we know like what it was from. So I don't know. I'm gonna go down the list here, Graham. We'll start with you. As far as, was there anything that stuck out to you in the opening here?
That.
Yes, there was.
Good timing. Q Cage in the chat.
Q Cage. No, it was like revisiting like a battlefield, like the day after. It's just like it had that feel as you came in onto the shore. You saw, the broken sphere that had the map. Hera comes and, they're just trying to find Ahsoka and Sabine. It was a good intro because I know a lot of people wanted to jump right to Ahsoka and Anakin right away, but I thought this was just a good intro to kind of lead us in.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I thought it was like well done entry to set up the build up of the episode for sure. Mike, what are your thoughts on this opening here?
Yeah, everything you guys just said, and then you're on the map right here. That was such a cool detail to have a magical mechanical device. A cool little detail. I was impressed with. I like that we got to see that.
Yeah, like you can see like the inner workings of this here.
Yeah,
the cool like intricate little gears and stuff on the inside. I thought that was cool as well.
Yeah, it was really cool. That might be a cool little accessory. I could see them throwing in like a little detonator that they have in the past.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
that would be cool to have this. Yeah, I feel like that would be a smart thing to include as an accessory for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It plays certainly plays a major role in the story. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the visuals, like you guys said.
Yeah, would be easy for them to do.
Yeah.
Spotchka, what about you, bro?
Man, Mike, I really like that point you made with this map. There's a lot of artifacts in Star Wars between the Jedi holocrons, Sith holocrons, Wayfinders. This is up there for one of my favorite looking artifacts in general. Like that, it's really cool. Like, I'm really hoping that like Hot Toys, recently they gave us the 1-to-1 scale ring with the Flash. Please, if you're gonna give us a DX release, just include this map. It would be so cool. It'd be cool to have a 1-to-1 scale version of this map, but overall, like I really like the way that these episodes have been starting out. They kind of remind me of like a Jedi Survivor cutscene, especially with the atmosphere of it, the red trees, the rocks. I don't know. I was like, Cal Kestis, are you showing up anytime? Like this scene, bro. Like, but I love the way it's shot. We were discussing behind the scenes, like what looks better, Andor or this. For right now, I'm leaning more towards this. This is incredible.
Yeah, for sure. I hope they make. I wonder if I feel like Hasbro would do something like this where they would release this as just like a 1-to-1s, like a life-size scale artifact or something. But or maybe Galaxy's Edge would do something like this. Yeah, Doc Ondar could
absolutely, dude.
That's probably a better option. Is like Doc, in Doc's shop. This I could see this showing up there, and I would get one of these. Put it in my display or something, or on my desk or something. It'd be just a cool piece to have. So yeah, I thought that was a cool little.
Would you want it cut in half or in whole?
No, I'd want a whole. I'd probably want a whole one. Well, hopefully, like it would be cool to be able to open it. I bet you they'd make it so it could maybe open and so you could display it both ways.
That'd be cool.
I think like that would be, that would be ideal.
Anybody that has those holocrons knows that they do some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, I have them. I didn't plug mine in yet. I haven't plugged them in or put a kyber crystal in them yet, but I have both of them. I just didn't open them yet. And then we get, this part here. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to find the exact. So we get I thought like this was perfect for I think this was like 5-ish minutes into the show. And this started at like the 2-minute mark. So this was like a 3 minutes quick hitting intro of them, setting the tone for Hera landing down with Jason Chopper. And then you see Hu Yang holding the helmet, basically saying like, I told them to stick together. I thought that was cool. Him holding the helmet. I thought it looked really cool. And then the intro hits.
It just deepens our emotional connection to him too.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. Hu Yang is so cool, man. He's such a
Very
cool
good
droid.
cold open.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
such a cool droid. And then we get the name drop, and I was like, oh man, this is such a badass name for this episode. Just building the hype even with the name, I thought was so cool. And then we get
that's a Kurosawa. That's a Kurosawa film.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
Lucas
like
is one of the
Kurosawa
producers
reference.
on it.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's the Easter egg. Okay.
They just do that with everything, I feel like, and it's so cool. And then we get this, and then I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is like where the hype just starts to build, because we get this, and then this like whole scene with like, what a shot of showing them from so far away, and then they start talking.
What a surreal moment for fans.
What a surreal moment. And then Anakin says like, you have a choice, live or die, right? And then he like ignites his lightsaber, and it just looks so cool.
He's still got the moves too. He's still got the choreography down.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, it's not Nick Gillard on this series, but Anakin brought that Gillard, the training that he learned, he just resurrected it and brought it right back in.
100%. Because he was doing training a year ago, a year previous to this for Kenobi. So he still had it in him, Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He definitely trained for this.
Yeah, this is really cool. And then it barely lasted until like we saw this and they started fighting, and it was like, okay. And then it cut away. And obviously they're trying to find the signal. Carson Teva is just a gem, dude. I love this. I love this guy as a character. And like, I think I've talked about in the past, he's a really cool guy, like in the community, and he has his own YouTube channel and stuff. And he just seems like a genuinely nice guy, and he's a collector and stuff too of things. I've checked out, his stuff. But yeah, just like a cool thing. And then he name drops Leia Organa, right? Ends up like he brings up General Organa and how they basically need to figure out what they're doing to get back. So we can kind of see the tension building as far as Hera's doing her own thing, and the New Republic wants her to basically leave, right? Or let them know what they're doing. I don't know if you guys have much to say about this, other than then we get to this part where I feel like the more iconic thing was like what they've been doing with Jason in the show is like, I've really been enjoying it with, you never know what they're going to do with these types of characters, but I felt like his connection to the Force, and just like what a cool way to use him as a character without, like, we knew he was going to be in the show, but I feel like the role that he's playing, I'm really enjoying as far as the series go. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? Anybody can just jump in, whoever wants to go.
Well, I'm just wondering if they're going to use him in the future as well, train to become a Jedi, make another story in the future about kind of centered around Jason. But I haven't, again, I'm working through Rebels right now, so I haven't gotten to his part yet, but I do know about him and his backstory a little bit. But it's just interesting to see how young he is, but yet how sensitive he is to the Force already. And it was a really cool aspect to be able to hear the lightsabers, in the world between worlds. Like, I thought that was pretty cool too. So yeah, it's just, kid's done a good job playing the part. I like him and Chopper's relationship as well, kind of like tag team buddies.
Yep.
Very reminiscent of Ezra and Chopper too.
Yep.
Like earlier seasons of Rebels, I would say.
Absolutely.
They know, like you said, man, the kid's killing it. Like, half the time when you have a child actor, I'm not hating on the original Anakin Skywalker actor kid, but 9 times out of 10, sometimes the child actor is not going to be as good. And it's not their fault; they're a kid, right? But the fact that he's doing as good as he's doing, man, I definitely hope that we see, like what Jedi said, something with this character in the future. 100%.
Yeah, he's a great young performer. I mean, he does a lot of things where he's not acting with anyone else. He's doing reactions to a ship approaching him, right? And he's got to show an emotional reaction to this, to Ahsoka maybe coming back. So he's doing a lot on his own, or with Chopper, who's, just a static droid standing there. So very impressive young kid. And I also appreciate the fact that Filoni didn't fall into his own trope and a trope that Disney does, in Kenobi with Leia, and what he's done with Omega, and what he did with Ezra in early scenes, where the kid is always like running off and causing a problem or something. Instead, he really contributed to the story and contributed to what was going on. Instead of causing a problem to be solved, he helped solve a problem, which is something we usually don't see with young actors, young characters in these shows.
That's a really good point. That's spot on as far as like any other child has caused an issue. Like that in their introduction is usually them causing a problem.
Like she said, stay here, don't wander off. And I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. But
who's he gonna there. Yeah, what trouble is he gonna get into?
Exactly. And talk about chills when he said, "Do you hear it, Mom?" And she's like, "What?" And he says the lightsaber clashes. I was like, oh man.
Yeah. And I absolutely loved how the waves in the lightsaber crashes blended in. I thought that was just so cool for some reason. I was like geeking out over that. But like,
you remember last week, I was like,
cool, man.
Why would they bring her kid? But he's going to have to be there because they're going to need a force ability. And I was like, cool. So one of my predictions finally came true, because the cool thing about this show is you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So. That's a really good point. I forgot about the closure on that, because I think we were all kind of like, why is he going with her on like this potentially like dangerous mission? But yeah, like that he obviously went with for setting this up. So that's a really good point, you know? But yeah, I thought that was really cool. Do any of you guys want to speak to Hera hearing the lightsaber clashes?
I mean, everyone's
you guys have opinions on that?
Everyone's force sensitive. Everyone has midichlorians in their blood, just not everybody has as many, right? Anakin Skywalker has over 9,000 midichlorians in his blood, right? That's why he's one of the most powerful Jedi, if not the most, or if not Luke. Hera, who's not force sensitive, right? Or Sabine for that matter. I don't know. It's like Finn, right? Not a lot of people like the sequel trilogy, but he said he's force sensitive too.
Yeah, they kind of teased him like having that potentially, right? So like, they've always done that.
They kind of did it with Han Solo, right? In The Force Awakens, right? Like he doesn't really necessarily have in tune or in touch with the Force, but he believes in it, knows it's real. He's force sensitive. He knows he has bloodline now that is force sensitive, so it's naturally just going to come to him too. That's my thoughts on that one.
Yeah, mine was a little bit like it didn't like bother me or take me out or anything, but I'm just very leery of the participation trophy force abilities. I just really don't want that to get any further like out of hand. I mean, I understand everyone. I get the force and all that. It's just I want to keep it. I just don't want it to get out of control. Special. I want to keep it special. Yeah. And look, it's her son standing next to her, so there's some leeway there. But I think you know what I mean. I'm not expressing it well, but
no, I know exactly. I know exactly what you're saying.
You've been making good points, man.
Yeah. No, I feel like, I would agree in that. They've really obviously like they're all in on the force being with everybody, right? Like that's obviously something that's been, talked about in this show. So yeah, I hope it doesn't bother me at all that Hera can do that. And I think too, we know Hera probably has a little bit more connection than some people based on her relationship with Kanan too, right? So how does that play a role? Like she's been around the Force for like she has seen it firsthand and she's been around it. She's a believer, which I'm sure that helps her connection with it. So that whole dynamic is interesting. I hope they don't go, I guess, beyond what they're doing. I'll say it that way.
Here's one thing I'll say, and I don't know exactly how Twi'leks, I say Twi'lek, some people say Twi'lek, whatever. I grew up saying Twi'lek. Let's say Twi'leks carry a child for 9 months. She had 9 months of a force-sensitive being in her body. So, I'm like willing to make certain exceptions. I think that could be something that
force sensitive seed was
I'm with
planted.
you as long as we're not having Leia being Mary Poppins. Right. Not everybody should have the ability to just be extreme, but everybody should have the ability to at least feel the force.
Yeah, and that was set up in A New Hope. Obi-Wan's explanation could involve that for sure.
100%.
Jedi, you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't like bother me. Again, I think it's more of like a nitpick. I didn't think too much of it, but at the same time, I'm old school Star Wars, and I know Lucas said like everybody is force sensitive, but I still think it's something that has to be like practiced and taught. Even Anakin had to be taught. I think the newer content from Star Wars, like the sequels especially, just kind of diluted that and kind of made it where almost anybody like Rey can just have these powers magically and just is doing all this stuff without any sort of knowledge of how to do it. So like in that aspect, it bothers me a little bit too, where I agree with Mike. Like I just don't want it to get out of hand. But this, compared to some of the stuff they've already done, is super minor. Like
Yeah.
not a big deal at all. But I also agree. Like I understand everybody, like the forces around, and everybody can be everybody can have it, but I do think it should be taught and whatnot. Like I can't just go out and do karate. Like I need to study it. I need to practice it. I need to focus on it for years probably.
Right.
So I just don't want it to become something that's just kind of thrown around that, you know, everybody can do it, and it creates like loopholes in stories and stuff. Just like a lazy shortcut, I guess. Like, well, we'll just give them force abilities or you know, something like that. So
like right when the moment comes, they all of a
Right.
sudden can, yeah.
yeah,
I
so,
agree.
so that's my only gripe with it,
Yeah.
really. Like I think it's still got to be something sacred that has to be put a lot of work into it.
Mhm.
100%, Graham, because like, you know, Star Wars, Lucas was thinking of, you know, Greek mythology and other like sources of like references, like I believe it was it Vietnam or whatever he was trying to reference, maybe the Nazis even with the Empire.
Mhm.
So maybe the Force, to put it in simpler terms, kind of like what you're saying, you can't just like hot toy collectors, right? Somebody who just today found one of our streams and was like, I want to collect hot toys. I'm a hot toys collector today. You gotta buy a figure first, man. Just like with religion, like I believe in Jesus Christ. Okay, go to church, read the Bible a little bit, pray a little bit, think on, you know. So I 100% agree with this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, you know, Brick is saying here in the chat too, it just seems like everyone is extreme in this show, meaning abilities, which is like his gripe too. I think I'm hoping, like I said, they just stay with what they've established, and that's when, you know, we go back to the episode where Sabine is talking to Ahsoka, and Ahsoka says talent helps, meaning that obviously the ones who were either taken as children to become Jedi, or like the ones who have the, you know, the midichlorians who are like identified at a very young age of being force sensitive that turned into Jedi. They're the ones who really have the ability to be in tune with force abilities. And if you're not at that level, it's all about kind of how deep your belief is of trusting in the force, and then how you become connected to it. You know,
100%.
what remains to be seen is, I guess, can somebody just, if they're not truly a Jedi, can they all of a sudden just get so in tune with it that they can start doing things that Jedi, you know, can do, or that Sith can do, where they can start using these like really strong force abilities. That, I guess, we'll see, because I mean, the way they're hinting at it, Sabine is probably going to do some type of force thing in the future. They already hinted at her doing a little force push. Like, we're probably going to potentially see something, and how that's going to manifest. I think it's interesting. It's intriguing to see how it's going to manifest.
Yeah.
But we'll see, you know, how how far they push it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good points, guys.
There's a good point. I mean, there's a lot of good points in the chat. But one that just popped up is, did she really hear it, or was she just trusting that Jason heard it? And you could read it that way too. Yeah. You know, my grandfather grew up poor and all. His kids were very successful. Several of them got to see the world. And my grandfather would always say, like, I haven't seen much with my own eyes, but I see the world through my children's eyes. And so to see her standing there with her son, she believes enough in him. Yeah, it's nice to think there's a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good point. Maybe she didn't hear it. Also, I think I would imagine her as a mother with Kanan, you know, as his father, that there's probably something, a feeling for her in that moment, you know, knowing that her child is sensing that and what he's experiencing. You know what I mean? So you can go, you know, get as deep as you want with that, but yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, Graham, your response is good too. Sometimes my kids are trying to tell me something, I have no idea what the heck they're talking about, but I'll nod my head yes. Yeah. I just want to get to a couple comments here. Boba Fettuccine's in the house. What is up, bro? He's talking about the map. Yeah, very steampunk. Work great in the story. Yep. Miss Spotchka, I agree with Mike's thoughts on Jason. I actually really love Jason's character and his acting. Yeah, he's killing it. Kate just said, yeah, or even if he grabbed her hand first, then a few seconds later she hears us. I think they were just talking about, you know, if there's, just how like she actually heard it, or what connection she has there. But nevertheless, I don't want to dive too. You could dive as deep as you want into
Right.
that. We're diving pretty deep into it as far as like what our speculation is there. But I'm sure we'll see as the season goes on, we're going to see more manifest as far as Force abilities and people being connected to the Force. Like we obviously know that's a thing. So we'll see.
It's the beauty of this episode. Not everything's
Yep.
spelled out.
Yep.
You can interpret things differently.
Yeah. But I think too, it's really good. Like that's 11, 12 minutes into the episode. And like you're already getting some good, just really good stuff with this episode. And then we start getting into the really, really good stuff. I mean, this was all just, I don't really know what to say as far as like breaking this down. I mean, it was just incredible. It was all really good. I didn't really have, Graham, I know you mentioned like Theory had said some stuff about he had like some gripes with the lightsaber fights. Was there a reason why, or like what
He's also a big fan of Mike knows the dude's name.
Yeah.
He
who did
loves
the
Nick Gillard. He's
Yeah,
interviewed
prequels,
him
yeah.
and stuff, and he was
Mhm.
disappointed
just-
that he's not
yeah.
a choreographer.
that he's not involved?
I think that's
I got
pretty
it.
much it. Like,
Yeah. Gotcha.
I didn't see anything wrong. I didn't think I thought it looked great. Like,
Yeah.
not every lightsaber battle is going to be this like super athletic or just like this show of a fight. Like, I thought this was still pretty good. A lot of good moves, but it was a training.
Yep.
That he wasn't trying to. I mean, that's interpretation too. I don't think he was trying to kill her. I think he's trying to teach her a lesson as well. So if he really wanted to kill her, I think he'd be going more than 75%.
Yeah.
100%.
I thought it was great. I liked all the lightsaber stuff. I think I also love their conversation during it. Like, I'm pretty sure it's at this part where Ahsoka's like, I'm not going to fight you. And then Anakin's like, I've heard that before. And then it just made me think of like Return of the Jedi when Luke's like,
Yep.
I'm not going to fight you.
Exactly.
Oh, definitely. That's
You know
the
what I mean? So then it's like, and if that's the reference, then it's like, then you start talking about the bigger picture of this vision and like the world between worlds and how everything, we talk about world between worlds transcending space and time. Well, like this vision that she's in. And if we want to talk about how like, potentially she's in a near death experience basically, because she's underwater this whole time. She's obviously knocked into the water. She starts having this vision, and then Anakin saying that, but it's also a direct callback to something that takes place, when Anakin is Darth Vader and he's saying this. So I thought like all of that was just all really, really good stuff.
To me, that line
you're right.
proves, like, that line answers a bit of a mystery, and people are like, maybe it's just her imagination that it's Anakin. She wasn't there for that. She has no idea what that
he's
could
talking about.
possibly be referencing.
Yep.
To me, that proves this is Anakin.
So do you think then, because I've heard the theory that he's like, I think it was a Mortis god? Like he's
Yeah.
kind of stationed in the world between worlds and is kind of like the protector of it. And that's maybe why you don't see him as like a Force ghost. I don't know. What do you guys think about that? Do you
like
think
as far
that
as like
has some
Mortis
truth?
and
Yeah, like
I like that theory because
I like that a lot.
it kind of almost represents and paints a picture of Anakin stuck in his own hell, right? He doesn't get the luxury or hasn't trained enough, maybe hasn't come to terms with everything he's done yet to be a Force ghost yet, to visit Ahsoka. Maybe we'll see him again in the finale or something as a Force ghost, and I doubt it, but we'll see. I kind of like that though, because it has him just kind of stuck here, almost like a Red Skull in Infinity War, right? Where he's just stuck on that planet. So yeah, I like that
Yeah.
theory.
Also, maybe this is what they meant by the prophecy. This is why he's the chosen one,
100%.
because he's the one who's going to oversee this realm. And so, if you're upset that the sequel trilogy undid the work of the chosen one by having Rey finally eliminate Palpatine, maybe that was never the chosen one's role to begin with, and him being in this position was what the chosen one was all about.
100%. Yeah, that's a good theory because I think Mace Windu says if that's what the prophecy says or if that's true, right? Because he's like, well, that's just some old papers,
Yeah.
man.
Right.
Prophecy really could be anything.
Yeah.
So-
It's
And
so
I
easy
think-
to misread. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think too, when you go like everybody in here, if you're listening to, you should all watch the Mortis arc in Clone Wars because that I feel like sets the stage for this conversation too. And we know the sacrifice that Ahsoka makes on Mortis where she basically manifests with the daughter, right? And then this Morai, the condor, like the bird follows her around everywhere. Like basically Morai's connected to Ahsoka in that way. So there's going to probably, I feel like, yeah, I would say there's probably going to be more revealed about that, with Anakin being the chosen one, and then Ahsoka being, his Padawan, and them being so deeply connected in that way. And then on Mortis with all of that stuff happening, like that stuff happened for a reason. And I think Filoni's aware of that when it comes to this show as well. And I think the really cool part about it for me too is a lot of that right now is up to interpretation, and it's really fun to talk about. And I think to have a mysterious element like that in Star Wars only benefits it for me. To have those conversations and talk about that, and I think like all of that stuff is just really cool, and then you can just really dive deep into some lore stuff, and I really like doing that. So I think there's still some questions that remain to be seen, and I think Filoni, I remember seeing a Dave Filoni interview where he talked about some of this, where like there's answers for all of this stuff, and they have the answers for it, but at the same time, like, you don't want to just give everybody the answers. You want to just, you want to keep fleshing it out. Like, and honestly, with this whole episode, I give them a lot of credit how they're fleshing it out, because that's another thing when I was watching this episode, I was like, the creative bits, I was like, wow, this is like some deep creative stuff that we haven't gotten from some Star Wars stuff lately, where it was just really, really in depth. Sorry, go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. No, it's the anti-J.J. Abrams mystery box. So J.J. Abrams thinks he can set aloft a mystery that he himself doesn't have the answer to, and that's unacceptable. So in fiction, you can have the audience guessing, but if the creator doesn't have a firm grasp of what it's all about, it ends up just kind of like floating away. There's really nothing grounding it, and the audience can sense that.
Yeah, that's what happened with the sequel trilogy. When he made the 7, Rian Johnson made 8, JJ went 9 to fulfill his vision and retcon things, and like that's where you just can't do that. It gets really messy.
That's JJ trying to pull a Tarantino, right? With like the Pulp Fiction, with like what's in the box or what's in the briefcase. Yeah. You're absolutely right, Mike. That doesn't work for Star Wars, because for Star Wars, you're told from A New Hope right from the beginning, with A New Hope, Kenobi talking to Luke. Hey man, this is what's up. This is what the universe is about. This is what the plot is, right?
Right.
Force Awakens, it's like, oh, well, here's what looks like the Empire. Here's what resembles Darth Vader.
Exactly.
This episode is bringing it right back to that mystery, but also like you're right about to get to the scene where she's about to fall. The fog, it almost brings it right back to like, what are we about to see, right? Because think about 1977 when people were watching the intro to New Hope, when Darth Vader walks out, they're like, "The hell is this? Like, what, this dude scary as hell." Like, so I feel like this is the exact same kind of feeling that people were getting. So exciting, really well done.
That's a really good point. Like right here, when she falls, and then you're like, where is she at now? And then you have like the soldiers that start running, like the clones. It was so cool.
That's when you start yelling like a football game, right? Because you're like,
I was like, oh my god. Man. Yeah, and then I also love how he like cuts her down. Then we get an Obi-Wan high ground reference. Basically, like he hasn't taught her everything yet, essentially. But yeah, this was just like so cool, where she's just all the fog, and then you start hearing the yelling and stuff like that. And then I don't want to play too much of this because I don't want to get in trouble, but yeah. And then we see like, this was cool when we see her kneeling, and then
can we pull up that chunky clone trooper, because he deserves a spotlight for a second.
Don't hurt me. Oh, there we go. Then we get like the lights. Sorry, pull up what?
The chunky clone. There he is. Right there.
Yeah, the big chungus. Like
some clones took an extra serving at chow.
Yeah, and then we get this like lightsaber igniting, and it's just so cool. Then we get Anakin the Clone Wars outfit.
Dude, wasn't it cool how the like shinies came first? Yeah. Then you had 501st come through, and then you see 332 second. Oh
yeah, and then we're seeing them like in actual like human form in this armor. You know what I mean? So it gives like the realistic element to it, right?
It's so cool because it's their CGI, right? Not all of them, but a majority of them are CGI, from what my understanding. And they
like in the past movies.
This episode too, from my understanding, right?
I don't know. In the movies, they were 100% CGI.
I think for the most part, I think they're all practical, because they didn't. I don't think some of it's probably budget, but like to animate And, this is something when I watched the episode, I thought, well, there's like a lot of smoke. You can't really see too much of the environment. But I'm sure some of that was from a effects standpoint of they're doing practical effects where they have people in the armor. And then also to put everything in the volume, or to like, I feel like on this scale, you have to almost make you have to make an environment like they've done for some of these other shows where they actually have like this mini Tatooine and stuff, or like in Andor where they have the set piece, because a lot of stuff takes place in those areas. But for them to flesh out a big environment like that, I feel like it was probably just too much of an undertaking from an editing standpoint for the show. And also then I liked how with the smoke, it seemed like you knew what was going on, but then the focus was still on Anakin and Ahsoka in their conversation. I thought that was like a pretty cool thing. I also like how we get
perfectly in story, because this is a almost dream sequence.
Yeah.
So it worked well to hide the background.
I mean, I still appreciate the shameless ATTE plug. Right,
I was gonna say I like the all-terrain tactical enforcer in the back right here.
Oh yeah, so cool. How did they catch up though?
Look at this clone going
flying
back here.
They just hauling ass as they has time. Those are more or less like the tanks, right? They're not worried about speed. They're worried about the gunpowder.
This part was crazy right here. This dude just goes flying. Like this was so cool. Like finally we get, and then you're just like, I'm watching this. I'm like, man, if we got like a Clone Wars live action would just be so cool if they did. I don't know what exactly they would do, but like to get this was when it was like, I want more because it was just so good.
Like we said, was it last night? Like they did Tales of the Jedi show. Imagine a Tales from the Clone Wars show, right? Like do an episode about Rex, do an episode about Cody, do an episode about Ahsoka, because this actress did an amazing job. And Hayden Christensen seems like he's having a blast returning as this character, right? We've all seen that footage from Celebration where he tears up that everybody's like chanting his name, right? Yeah. So honestly, I mean, this is a question for y'all for the chat too. Would you want to see a miniseries live action Clone Wars? Because we already have the Clone Wars as it is, right? That doesn't need to be touched. It's good as it is. But would you like to see a series full fleshed out, like 8 episodes like this, or would you like to see a mini series?
Oh man, I'd like to see a full series, dude. You could, till the end of time, you could make World War II battle films. Clone Wars is even obviously on a much more massive scale. It's an endless story, So why not?
They could make it meaningful. It would just depend on what they would create. I would hope they would do something different than the stuff that we've already seen from the Clone Wars. It'd be cool to have another story or something to build upon it even more.
Right.
Totally.
And they could take advantage, man. I mean, you still got Hayden, you still got, you still got Obi-Wan around, Ewan McGregor. Like they have pieces where they could still potentially try to do stuff. I think another issue is, I guess with that being said too, I'm sure de-aging is not a cheap process, and I'd like to film a lot of that with main characters like that would get in the way, but they could also, like I said, do original content from that doesn't involve those people as well. I mean, I'd be all about it.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, same here. I think Clone Wars is so great, but bringing anything that's animated to live action is just next level as well. So like, even if everybody's seen it, I think just seeing it in like this, everybody was so excited. So imagine getting like a mini series or a series in general. I think it would be so cool. But like you said, de-aging is I think it's still super expensive. I figured with this too, they were kind of cutting costs, fogging it out so that they didn't have to add a whole lot, because I mean, this show has looked really good so far. So I'm sure they can't just blow their whole load on everything in the background. So trying to save some money here, but it was really cool to see, especially for someone like me who again has like some knowledge of the Clone Wars, but able to see it like this was extra special, and I really enjoyed it too. And that figure of Anakin right there just got a lot more popular.
Oh, dude, Graham, I was just going to say, like, what's so awesome about Hot Toys is they are the characters we love shrunken down. This is a figure I have shrunken, expanded up into a person. It's the first time I've seen it done in reverse. Because seeing him in
Hot Toys is just sitting back like, thank you.
Do you guys think
Sideshow's like, thank you for clearing our warehouse.
It's a copy and like an adaptation of how he looks in Clone Wars, but do you guys think that they use the Hot Toys figures like, okay, let's like try to match this so, like for the fans that have this little collectible?
I don't know.
Dude, the colors it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
I know, right?
I
need
wanted to
to-
break out my figure and see if like the scratches on it were exactly.
I think I need to look, but the armor piece that I have on right now on his chest is different. Like there aren't as many segments to it, but I don't know what the other one looks
Right.
like. The other one might be closer to this. I don't know, but like that, something like that wouldn't really necessarily bother me. I feel like Hot Toys has a lot of figures that have subtle armor inaccuracies and stuff compared to like final products and stuff. But
yeah.
but no, I mean, yeah, I remember I was watching this. I was like, well, I'm glad I got this one. He's right. He's right here. He's right here.
Seeing him in this
Like, glad I've
costume
got
is
this
so
It
awesome.
was so cool.
Yep. Yeah.
And and I've grown to have a much bigger appreciation for Hayden Christensen since the Obi-Wan series. And this just keeps building onto it too. Because I wasn't the biggest fan of how he portrayed Anakin in the prequels. And I don't think it was necessarily his fault. I think it was George Lucas's direction on how he wanted him to come across. But nevertheless, I still wasn't. It seemed overacting. It seemed like just too much. But he seems so much better. Like lately, like even in Obi-Wan, in this, just more natural. Like it almost seems like he's being real. Like where the other Anakin just seemed a little bit more forced. No pun intended. But I don't know. So I've just grown to really appreciate him like so much more. Just seeing him here too, and yeah, it's really cool.
Minor detail, but I like how his hair is growing out from episode 2 into episode 3. Cool little touch. I mean, that's what I mean. Like all the details are there.
It's crazy because like the hair on the figure looks. It's from when you look at him from the front in this episode, it looks really short, but like right here looks actually pretty accurate to the figure, like in the back.
The same
Well, he's Canadian, so
Yeah.
he has a bit more in the back.
Yeah, he's got the salad, baby.
Yeah, his Canadian accent came out a little bit. He's like, "Is that what this is about?"
Yeah,
I was like,
but I
"Yeah,
agree. I
gotcha."
agree. Like he seems, and I feel like some of this is probably just like Hayden being older and just like him just having more experience, and like I felt like Anakin seemed more grounded in this than it was back in the prequels. And I think, like you guys said, some of that was probably dialogue choices that George made, because I don't think dialogue was really George Lucas's focus. The focus was what cinematically like can he do. I know there's like been discussions about that, but
He's a really good actor. If you've seen his other stuff, when he
he's a great actor. Yeah, and I think too, like we always talk about, like for me, I grew up with the prequels, like those, as far as like I had watched the original trilogy but saw the prequels, in theaters, and so like you look past some of that stuff when you grow up with it, and a lot of it's nostalgia based, and you just like you love the prequels, and that, obviously there's been a huge like uprising of people who love the prequels, and I feel like this drives people to love the prequels even more. Because Hayden's coming back. I also just really appreciate that he's willing to come back, because for what honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude would have just been like, no, I'm not doing it, based on what people have said about him in the past. Like to still be like, I think, Spotchka, you brought up the celebration when people were like he got emotional on stage. Like he was crying because of the fan reception. And it's just like, at least he still cares, because he could honestly basically be like, fuck off to all of you people.
Look at his career, man. And this wasn't by choice. Like, after Revenge of the Sith, financially, he only did 3 major theatrical films, to my knowledge. He did Awake with Jessica Alba. He did Takers with Paul Walker and Idris Elba. And then he did Jumper with Samuel L. Jackson. Other than that, the dude fell off the face of the planet. We didn't see him in another movie.
Yeah, and he seems like he's kind of under like his personal. I mean, obviously, like I probably wouldn't like put my personal life out there either. But as compared to other people, it just seems his life is under wraps. You know what I mean? You don't hear much about him. Yeah. Which that's probably how I would want it. I probably wouldn't. Yeah, he's just a private dude, right?
Yeah.
You don't really get a sense of who he is as a person. But with that being said, I appreciated how his reception was, and that he was still willing to come back and give the fans ultimately what we wanted, because seeing him again has been just incredible, getting him and seeing the Clone Wars. Graham, I wanted to ask you a question. Does this, I put up a post on Instagram today with a bunch of pictures. There's a bunch of characters. It was like Anakin. It was like those live action pictures of Anakin, Rex, and young Ahsoka. And then it was Bo-Katan, Darth Maul, and Cad Bane. And then I had wrote in the caption, you know, like if this doesn't make you want to get into Clone Wars, I don't know what
Right.
will. Like, does this push you to want to like explore that a little bit more as far as the animated goes? Or are you kind of fine with like, oh, just kind of look stuff up? Like, I'd be curious to hear, you know, your take on that.
I guess I'm not sure. I've jumped around Clone Wars, so I've seen a lot of the highlights, but I've tried to watch it twice, like from start to finish, and I've failed miserably both times. I've just ducked out. I'm still going at Rebels. I was watching a little bit of it tonight, and I think I don't know, I'm maybe like 12 episodes in or something like that. So I like them, but at the same time, I don't think they reach me the same way they reach some other people. I think so. I'm not sure. I'll probably give it another go eventually, but it definitely makes me more curious and makes me want to know more. So either way, I think I definitely want to figure things out and get more of an education on some of the stuff that I missed, whether that be, you know, watching it from start to finish or, you know, YouTubing the timeline and just kind of learning more things. But, you know, even like watching Mandalorian, it kind of pushed me to learn more about Mandalore and the Mandalorians themselves and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, either way, I think it's a good thing.
Graham, if you want, there's the first way that I watched Clone Wars was I googled it. I found a website that gives you sort of an abridged Clone Wars experience,
Yeah.
where it kind of trims
Exactly
the
what I was
fat,
gonna say.
Sure.
and you can streamline it, and it's geared more towards adults, so
Yep.
it cuts out some of the other stuff. My wife and I absolutely loved it. We went back and then we watched every episode, but not in the order Disney presents them.
Right.
So
Yeah,
actually
chronological.
on Star Wars' own website, they give you the correct viewing order, which frustratingly is not how they have them on Disney.
Why don't they
Plus.
just fix it?
Just
I don't
fix
get
it? Yeah, you know. So when you go to the website, it's like, you know, you jump around a little bit. You know, season 1 and then an episode from season 2, because they actually wrote the stories and produced them out of order. This
Okay.
thing puts all the arcs together, so you get to see arc, then the next arc, then the next arc. Stories make a lot more logical sense that way. So
Right.
I'll send you the links if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice if
thanks.
they just fix it. But that's what I was gonna recommend too. Is like, do they remove like the Gungan underwater, like the underwater mission and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like removed that I'm
Yeah.
glad I went back and watched again,
Yeah.
because you don't get to see the Huyang episode where he's showing the Padawans how to build their lightsabers. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm
Yeah.
glad I saw that,
Little
because that added
tidbits.
depth to this character for me.
Yeah.
So, but again, you know, you can get to that stuff later if you enjoyed the first viewing, the abridged viewing.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it's hard because there are obviously so many episodes, and we know, just like if you watch Bad Batch, like there's fillers. You know, you watch the episodes, Bad
100%.
Batch, there's fillers, and you're like, okay, that was like a fun adventure episode. And I know some of it's like geared towards kids, even though Bad Batch, I would say like season 2 Bad Batch was dark as hell.
Some of the best Star Wars ever.
It was crazy dark, dude.
Yeah, but
Oh,
you got to get
yeah,
to
it was
season
like-
4 in Clone
Yeah,
Wars
yeah.
for it to pick up.
Graham,
That's
you haven't seen Bad Batch, right?
I started that too, and I just kind of fell off after
Yeah.
like 5 episodes.
Yeah, I feel like it's I think what really pulls people out is just like the adventure filler stuff, where it's hard to like, you know, you feel like you don't really want it, you're not really invested in like, oh, okay, they're going to do some type of mission to save somebody or do something, and like it's a filler episode, and then it's hard to
I'm
stay
not gonna lie.
engaged.
That's probably part of it. Is just
Yeah.
a lot of the episodes are more of like I don't want to say kid episodes because they're not, but at the same time, like almost like a kid's episode would be. Like you have just like these mini treasure hunts and stuff, and
Yeah.
I kind of just want
Yeah.
the full meat of the story type of thing.
Yeah, and it's a big investment because there's like, I don't even
Right.
know, there's got to be over
I think
40
that's
hours.
part of it
Clone
too. Is
Wars.
now that, you know, Clone Wars is all the way over. I watched the last season fully, but like
Oh, okay.
it's kind of like a tall order to just now go back, and it's kind of intimidating to go back and like,
Yeah,
all right, let's watch this whole thing. Like Rebels is at least just 4 seasons, so it's kind of not as bad. But even that to me is like, okay, stick with it.
stick with it.
Climb that, you know?
Yeah.
It'll
Once
all
you
be
get in
worth
the
it.
second half, like the second half of that show is
Oh my god.
Yeah.
crazy. The final
just saw
season
Lando
is so
tonight.
good.
In
Okay.
season 1, where Lando made his appearance, so the pig.
Dan, you got something to say?
I was just agreeing with the Lando appearance.
Oh. Yeah.
Lando does appear. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, Lando appears. With that being said, yeah, it's just Clone Wars. So like, I mean, for me, seeing all this was just so cool. I'm sure, like, Spotchka, Mike, you can agree, and Graham, even you, like seeing this, I'm sure,
I love it.
you thought it. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how you that, and we've been talking about the show. I feel like now they've solidified that, like, this is for people who, if you're not fully invested in Clone Wars, like, you're still going to get something out of this show,
Yeah.
which I think is really important. And they nailed it with this being some of that. And hopefully it drives some people, especially like you're a little different because you've consumed some of that and you've looked it up and you've taken initiative to try and find some of that and like learn about the Clone Wars. But some people outright refuse because it's animated. And like, you're just, if you liked this is a snippet of what you see in some of these major Clone Wars arcs. Yeah. And also you're just missing out on the whole entire arc of Ahsoka and Anakin growing together as like master and then her being the Padawan, so.
And like one last thing I want to say about it, and I'm not like, again, I'm not some guy who's always had these in my life. I just watched them. I started watching the animation 2020. So I'm not like, oh, dude, I'm a longtime fan of all this. I'm not. But after watching it all, it made me realize the films are this much of what Star Wars is. Like, it really expands the whole thing.
Yeah. Can we also appreciate Phase 1 Rex? I just wish we would
have
seen more.
Yes, we saw Rex and like that. I
looked at Mrs. Spotchka and I was like, "Zoom in, you bastards! Let me see that beautiful."
I know.
Man.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to.
And I love that
he came having to play.
He lent his voice to it, Tamara.
Which
another gem in Star Wars. That dude.
I'm a Phase 1 clone armor kind of guy. I like the Phase 2 armor, but the Phase 1 I grew up on Attack of the Clones, right? I grew up on Jango Fett, the Bounty Hunter video game. I love it. Some people were complaining the helmets are inaccurate. Explain how. I don't know how. Like, I was satisfied. I think they look sick.
Yeah.
I think they look better than they did in Attack of the Clones, at least. My only complaint here is that Rex was turned around the whole time. I was like, turn around, Rex. Like, see that beautiful armor. But dude, the 501st
this dude looks cool right here, man.
Woo. Yeah.
Do you guys agree that this is still present day Ahsoka, just in young Ahsoka's body?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and this is Anakin post Return of the Jedi, 100%.
Right. It's because just they're like, it's part of her training. They're in a vision. Yeah, they both are aware of that. It's not like a flashback, like total flashback type of thing.
Yeah, it's like her final lesson essentially. Is kind of how I looked at it, because I mean, this is probably done as far as like we're not going to be seeing Ahsoka Anakin stuff. I don't really know what else they would necessarily do potentially.
Did I hear he was coming back yet? Did anybody else hear that? Or maybe it's going to be something else.
I mean, if they're smart, they'll bring him back.
Like he's going to come back for another like piece of Star Wars something.
I don't remember if it was a piece of Star Wars or like one more small spot in the show.
That'd be interesting so that would also be interesting if she then like goes back into World Between Worlds again and like gets more information. Like what are they going to?
Maybe a Force Ghost.
Or maybe a Force Ghost. Maybe a Force Ghost and that's a whole nother thing. Is like this is obviously like he wasn't a Force Ghost, and then that gets into like is Anakin even a Force Ghost, or are we talking about Mortis? Like is that now what he is? You know what I mean? But we'll see. I mean, I would love to see him again for sure. He looks so like this looks really good. He looks really good here, and they did
a good job with the de-aging.
Yeah, and this Ariana, I think it's Ariana
Greenblatt.
Yeah, Ariana
Greenblatt. And she was young Gamora.
Yeah, young Gamora. Yeah, we were on Copper Drive. I was like, damn, I need to like get in touch with her agent apparently and get me on some stuff because this dude is getting her all these different roles. I think I saw she's in Barbie too.
Yep, Barbie as well.
And she's like 16.
She's also with Adam Driver in 65, the movie with Kylo Ren. So.
It's crazy. And
she was in 65 as well?
Yeah, she's the little girl in 65.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And she absolutely nailed it. Like this was a perfect casting in my mind as far as getting a young Ahsoka. And this, I want to talk a little bit about this conversation because this is really interesting because we see like this is like kind of fucked up because Ahsoka's so young. And like what she's experiencing is basically just like all on like full out warfare as a young Padawan with Anakin. And I think, Cage is saying it right here too. One of the things about seeing this that really drove her home is how young she was during this time. Yeah, she's so young, and the only thing that she's learning is basically that she needs to be a soldier.
Yep.
As she's going through training with Anakin. And for me, it's almost like Ahsoka was part of Anakin's downfall as like to what he became. And like that was part of like this conversation was really crazy because like she's seeing this soldier who is obviously like badly injured, and then Anakin's like, we gotta go. Like this is part of it. We gotta go. It's like there's no time for any of that. It's basically just like this is war. We have to keep doing what we're doing. There's another I think, doesn't he say like there's another squad or something that's moving in that they need to go and fight, and she's trying to take a moment, and he's like, you're a soldier, you don't like be basically like my interpretation is like we don't have time for this. This is what it is and this is what's happening. And he just didn't. Anakin was like, you know, I feel like the war element, and I obviously like was never in the military, but it's kind of like that mentality of you know, you have to basically like move on. Yeah, you desensitize. You got to keep moving forward. And she's a young Padawan. Like this sucks for her as a character.
I'm so happy you paused on this because I feel like this moment really speaks to the larger lesson that he's trying to teach her. Because to move forward, you have to confront, acknowledge, and deal with your past, not live in your past, but you know, confront what might be haunting you and then move on. Because I think this is the Battle of Ryloth. They make a point to show many Twi'leks standing around, and there's no other aliens but Twi'leks. Remember, the Battle of Ryloth, they were in space. They weren't even here. But this is her opportunity to confront the death that she is responsible for because she disobeyed an order which got all these clones killed. And she gets to hold his hand and in some ways apologize to him and to herself for the mistakes she's made in the past. That's how I interpreted it. Doesn't mean it's right, but that's.
I mean, I took it the exact same way, man. Because what's even more fucked, Steve, is that this is not only Ahsoka as a Padawan, but this is also, like y'all were saying, present day Ahsoka. So not only is she taking a moment, but she's also saying, like, here we go again. I'm once again having to be faced with my brothers that died in my arms and without my arms and without my support. So, dude, it's not only traumatic, but it's heavy because her hands right on his stomach, right, just taking a moment. It's bittersweet talking about it, man. You'll choke up talking about it, man. Damn. But it's powerful, man, because like we said, this is past and present Ahsoka just looking around her and like, wow, this man really put me in the shit position in my childhood.
Yeah, this is the depth of Star Wars that like a lot of normies don't know is there, and you want to tell them it. You want to say, no, it's deeper than you might think.
Well, same here too. Like I took it as it's present day Ahsoka, and maybe when she was like when this first happened, she maybe wasn't this like intimate with the soldier, or like didn't, I don't want to say care as much, but like maybe didn't understand. But I think going back, like you said, some PTSD, or you know, just really these were the people she fought with, and now she's seeing them again, and now you know she's taking a moment because it's hitting her hard too. So that's kind of how I interpreted it. But I think
I agree with that. Yeah,
I think she also just, it was a big thing that happened in her life, and she didn't want to go back to it. And I think he was bringing her there for that reason, to kind of face those things. And she didn't want to fight. She didn't want to look back. And I think he did a really good job, you know, teaching her that final lesson.
Yeah. Like she says to Balin, she says, I'm not here to talk about my past. You know, like those first few episodes, she wanted nothing to do with that. You know what I mean?
I feel like as a character, she's been running a long time, you know, and this was really her chance to change that and to become new again. So it was part of why I really enjoyed it as well. Just seeing her transformation, and we'll probably talk about that later.
Yeah. In the prior episode, he says, you know, your history is death and destruction. And they made a point to show that in the beginning of this episode as a recap.
Yeah. That's a really good point too. I just want to say hi to Collector Joey. Hi, Joey.
What's up, Joey?
What's up, Joey?
What's up, Joey? Happy to have you here, bro.
Good to see you, brother.
But yeah, this was just all of this, and just all the conversation between Anakin and Ahsoka was just spot on. There's one other thing I was going to say about.
Look at that clone trooper real quick. Next to Anakin on the left. Is he obvious? Yeah. What's wrong with his spine?
She's got a excessive lumbar curve, bro.
I was about to say, man. Yeah, tell me all these clones are not CGI.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe that is. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. They filled out the background a little bit.
Yeah, I think another thing is like one of the last things Ahsoka sees of the clones is like all the 332nd who have like these the beautiful helmet that Mike has right behind him, who are all basically honoring her. And then what's the last thing she sees is all their helmets on pikes because they're all dead. You know what I mean? So like this shit's traumatic as hell for Ahsoka. And yeah, and on top of that, what happens is it's her master who is the one that caused basically all of it to happen, you know? So going back, like who wants to go back and confront something like that? Nobody. She probably never wants to, you know, go near this again, which I don't blame her. You know what I mean? After going through all of that, and then the Jedi Order basically betrays you. And then your master, who you looked up to and, you know, taught you everything, basically is the most feared villain in the galaxy. All of a sudden, like, you don't want to address that shit. You don't want to deal with that.
So, doesn't that look exactly like the animation? Even the way his body's lanky like that.
Perfect.
Like,
yeah.
Fuck, dude.
And like I think about like Matt Lanner's. Matt Lanner does such a good job of Anakin. I just felt like this was just, I don't know. It's so hard because he obviously
the bridge between them.
It's perfect. Like it doesn't make it seem like there is a different person. Like it seems like they're all all connected as one. I just thought it was, I just thought like that was really good. They nailed it. I have nothing bad to say about the Clone Wars part. There's one other part I want to touch on if I can see it. I think we're gonna get to it. Yeah, we're still gonna get to it.
Yeah,
should get moving here.
That shot where he's walking in the distance.
Yeah, that was one of them. Like this, when it starts flashing as Darth Vader, right? Like,
yeah.
Dude. She looks perfect. Oh yeah, I think I missed
the shot you're looking for, dude. Became like instant Star Wars iconography forever.
Yes, like this will go down as one of the greatest moments as far as like cinematic moments, and like this episode is gonna just go down as some of the coolest stuff we've seen from as far as like Anakin and. That is so, and the explosions are like triggering the change from light to dark. Like it was just so cool. And then it shows her face like, oh shit. Just crazy. And then you guys got any closing thoughts on that part? We still have quite a bit to get to. So
just what a badass scene, man.
Yeah, just incredible. And then we get this part. I don't know if you guys have much to really say about this. And then they're basically like, I think it's when they say they got to fly low, right?
I like how Hera asked Huyang was like, "What's Ahsoka's master like?" And he goes, "Intense."
Oh yeah. He was intense. That's a good way to put it, right?
Right.
But also again,
kids, intense.
I just want to say from it cinematically again, like this looks so good. Gorgeous. It looks so cool with the ship flying.
We might have missed it, or it might happen right after this, but like the 3 X-wings going over the water like that.
Yeah, man, I think it's
these ships in atmosphere.
I think it's. I want to say it's
so cool.
I think it's a little bit later. I think it's in this like right before they. Maybe it's not. I can't see it. I can't see it exactly, and I don't want to just keep playing it, but. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about when they all fly. I think it might be during that part because that's when they say they all need to fly low. Yeah, and then you get like all the X-wings. Yeah, but anyways, I know what you're talking about. That was a really cool. It's always cool seeing X-wings. And then we get this scene here where we start seeing Siege of Mandalore. This was dope. Like this was incredible. I did not expect to see this part with the Mandalorians. Or with the the super the super commandos, the Mandalorians, and then she's like Ahsoka's just going off. Like this is,
dude. Now Hasbro can make that helmet. Dude. Let's do it. Yeah, dude, she's perfect. This girl.
Oh so cool.
But she's under 18, so Hot Toys might not make her.
Captain Rex again.
There it is.
Yeah, I don't see it. And also this outfit that she's wearing is based on the animated one that we already have. Yeah. So that's why I say like it's not going to happen. No. I just don't see it happening.
Never know.
Maybe when she's older, looking back on it, they're like, oh, let's make a new figure with her likeness or something when she's an adult. But
it'd be
That's
cool if they
weird.
did something with this actress, like as Ahsoka, like a prequel.
I agree.
That would be
I
so
think that'd
cool
be
to
so
see
cool.
because she
Like,
knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, this does open up, I feel like, some avenues for like some live action Clone Wars stuff. There's another shot, I don't know exactly where it's at, where she just like stabs one of the super commandos.
She's so good.
It's right.
She's just bodying all of these guys, man.
It's right here. It's right here.
Right
Look
here.
at how cool this character is, man.
That's so cool.
It is so awesome. And like, obviously we see these in Clone Wars, but like, it just is such a cool character design. I don't want to, that right there is so cool. This so like, yeah, it's crazy. We see earlier on where she's like hesitant to do stuff, and now she's just going off, just destroying everybody.
It's weird that he died from a stab, isn't it?
Then we get some of these clones. Like, oh, this just looks so good.
Look at her.
She's so badass.
So in charge,
And
she's
just hanging out.
Yeah.
just murdered a bunch of people. Now they're just hanging out.
It's so cool. This you're probably gonna mention it. Like, this is the perfect point because he's like, I don't remember this because he wasn't there.
Yep.
And,
she's like, this is where we were separated, right?
Because the last
we had
time
already
she saw
parted
him was
ways by
just
now.
before. Just before this.
Yeah.
Cherry on top.
Yeah.
Miami's Nemesis in the house. Chris, what is up, bro? Made it. Just got off work. Thank you for tuning in, bro.
And y'all mentioned the stance earlier with Matt. This is where they really got the stance down, right? This is classic Clone Wars Anakin stance where he's just standing next to Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shot right there. If you can go back to that shot where they're just standing there and you can see, that. I would hang that up on a canvas. That's beautiful. That is beautiful.
I do.
No
This
one
would be
else could do
be
this.
something to get a cool art print from this show, like to put on my wall.
100%. Display's going to have some good ones, I bet, because they did some from the Kenobi show, and like Display does some good stuff.
Yeah. Wasn't
Kate
killing
said
Dooku
wasn't
at the
killing
time.
Dooku at the time. He was, so
Yeah.
Chris has a nice question here. How are they going to top this episode or episodes after this one?
Ron. Yep.
They got that Thrawn trick up their sleeve. Yeah.
They got to bring in Thrawn. I'm
Hopefully
honestly,
he comes in soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
sure.
think next episode. I would think they got to bring him in
think
next
so.
episode, right?
So the good thing though is like we've got bad guys in this show already.
Yeah.
Like Mando season 3 didn't, and that's why we're all like, dude, who's the main bad?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
here-
that's
purpose.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I also like, honestly, I think we'll see him sooner rather than later. I don't think they're going to show him the finale, but for this show, I wouldn't be mad if they reveal him towards the end, because if that sets up more of what we're getting, I will happily wait for more of this to happen as far as the show goes.
yeah, let's get some
Know what I
Balin.
mean?
Yeah, more
Yep.
story from
Yep.
Balin.
I don't want them to just rush it and be like, okay,
Right.
now we got to get to Thrawn. Let's show Thrawn, because there's so many other, like you said, there's all these other characters who, like, if honestly, I would say this show is amazing, even if there was no, like, if we didn't see Thrawn, you know what I mean?
100%.
But we're obviously going to see
Yeah.
him, and
And it finally
that's
feels
gonna
like
elevate it.
Ahsoka show again, you know?
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
that's a
The
great
last
point.
couple episodes have been really
Yeah.
focused around her and about her arc, so it's
Yeah.
it's been awesome.
Yeah. That's
And-
a really, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, like without Sabine, we got to have some more growth and some more time with Hera
Yeah.
as well, who I think
Yeah.
really came into her
Mhm.
own too.
Yep. And I think they're doing a good job. We'll talk about it kind of like towards the end here, but I like how they did. I like how Hera is staying behind. I like how Ahsoka is going to do this on her own because it's her show.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it was a smart move saying, okay, Hera's heading back. Ahsoka's going with Hu Yang, and she's going to be the one to figure this out. Are they all going to like come to like a culmination where Hera might somehow find a way? Because like also it's interesting because Chopper threw that navigation, that GPS onto Morgan. Was it like Morgan Elsbeth's ship, right?
Mhm.
I forget exactly
Yeah.
what it was, but
It was like the hyperdrive.
the hyperdrive. Sorry, the hyperdrive. So like, is Hera potentially going to end up going out that way? I could
Or-
see that
yeah.
potentially happening.
It's
You know,
true.
or knowing where they're at, and then she uses the Purgle to get out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that GPS wasn't just planted for no reason. She's gonna know where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad they're letting Ahsoka go, because, like you said, Graham, it's bringing the focus in on her, and I think that's obviously we talked about that being important for the show. Then they start fighting here,
Live
and
or
then
die.
this was badass when he kicks her back into the
Snap
world
back
between
to
worlds.
reality.
Like, this was so. Oh, come on. I don't want to play too much of it here. Oh, I can't do it. I'm just going to do it. And then she just gets thrown back in here. Like, I thought this was so cool. And then he like walks in and he like does like this shrug. He's just like, he just looks so badass, I thought, in this moment. Like right there, he's like, damn, look. And then you get this. Obviously, like that was what I was trying to capture too, is like this.
And the voiceover.
Yep. It's so cool.
How they mixed it together was just awesome too.
Yep. Like we just haven't really gotten anything like this. And then his lightsaber, his like lightsaber is red, and just he was just so powerful in the fight too. Like there was a couple of moments when they were lightsaber fight, like when they were dueling, where like their lightsabers are connected, and he like just pushes her, like without even swinging the saber, he just like pushes her. I just thought the way that it was done was really, really cool. Chris is saying he didn't know that the actress that played young Ahsoka plays other characters in movies. Yeah, we were talking about that. She's young Gamora. Who else? She's in Barbie, I guess. And then she's in what was the other movie you guys were talking about?
65.
Yeah, 65. So yeah, she's earning her keep. Seeing what Kate says, seeing what Vader would have been like without the armor was fucking scary. Yeah, honestly, like imagine if Anakin didn't become Darth Vader in that way. Like he would have been a menacing dude, just like in his own right. He obviously already was.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah,
he had the high ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we get. Well, we're gonna talk. Well, I guess I'll pause here, but we obviously get Anakin's eyes going dark, like going back to dark side. Cue. I'll say it because Spotchka's in here. Cue the dark side Anakin re-release.
No.
Yep.
Yeah,
Wait, and
Mike too. Like,
yeah,
I've said if there another Dark Side Anakin comes out, I probably won't get rid of my original one anyways, because it's just like I feel like it'll go down as an iconic. I mean, the value might go down, but I feel like it'll be an iconic piece of Hot Toys history to still have that figure because everybody
always have the
wanted
base.
It. Yeah, I like would want to keep that figure regardless, but and then
honestly, with seeing this episode of Anakin, I've owned the dark side before and kind of tinkering with getting it back again eventually. But I've never really cared for the light side because I just thought dark side was just so badass. But like seeing him here, I got that new appreciation for him. So like, you almost want like the light side now to just kind of like, for me anyway, to put with Ahsoka, and I don't know, just having like his arms kind of behind his back, like just kind of like standing there. I don't know. So
that's
like
a good idea.
That's kind of something that popped in my head too.
I think he's coming, don't you guys? I mean, we didn't get that sculpted figure to go along with the rooted, so I think he might be coming. They're holding him back, maybe.
Yeah. If we have time, we'll talk about that. Kind of what our thoughts are as far as figures that might come out. But yeah, Anakin, like how Graham, I think this was on Wolfpack Wednesday. We were talking about how Joker came with 2 options when they released Artisan, but Anakin only came with the 1, right?
Right.
So they're saving that sculpted for something, and this would probably be a good time to do that. Also, like this just makes me really excited for Artisan Anakin to come out because the hair,
God damn it.
the hair, like when I was looking at, like when I was seeing how he looked, like the hair for this, I mean, I'll get to it, but like it looks good. The Artisan one looks like this a lot. Like they've just nailed it. So, but I wanted to talk about.
Did they say what the Artisan one was from? Was that
Revenge of the
Sith? So it is branded for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Branded for Revenge.
And like the floor, like the base he's on is from that film.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm getting that no matter what. I don't care.
Hunted down. I want to touch on this because I thought the whole, like this scene for me really nailed the whole entire theme of the lesson, right? He's got the lightsaber. Because you get Anakin, like light side Anakin, he goes to dark side Anakin, and they're basically saying like Ahsoka has the option of making the same decision, like has the same option to make the decision that Anakin made. He said you can live or die, and to me that was, you can live and be who you're gonna be, or you can die and become somebody else. Which in his case, obviously, he died as Anakin Skywalker and became Darth Vader, right? Mm-hmm. So this was like a big turning point. Obviously, we knew that Ahsoka wasn't gonna like turn bad or anything, but as far as a lesson goes, like I just thought this was really smart of making her eyes turn into these dark side eyes essentially for a brief moment, because she had the decision to kill him, or, you know, she says, you know, she chooses to live, and then he says, "There's hope for you yet." I thought that was just so good.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
killing Dooku was his turning point, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
I like the contrast compared to like when he reunites with Obi-Wan versus Ahsoka. Like
Yeah.
he has beef with Obi-Wan, but when it comes to Ahsoka, he's like, "What's up, dog? Good to see you, man. You know, I
Yeah.
ain't seen you in a few years. You know,
Yeah.
good to see you. How you been?" Then we get into a fight, but you know, how you been first? You know.
Yeah, and then he changes. Like when she makes a decision, he changes back to light side. You know, I just thought like that was just so well done with his eyes. I'm trying not to play too much of this, but then he changes back, right? Then there's hope for you yet. I just thought that was just so well done, this part. You guys got any more thoughts you want to say on this?
Cage was asking in the chat that Anakin lost on purpose,
yeah.
and I would say yes, because it was just all part of the lesson. You know,
Yeah.
like if he wanted to kill her, he could have. He's such a way more powerful Jedi than she ever was. So, I think Miami's Nemesis says, yeah, like she's way outmatched compared to him. He's more advanced. So, yeah, I just looked at it as that was all just part of the lesson, and he knew, like, I don't think she could have killed him even if she wanted to. I think it's just that's his realm, and it was part of her lesson. So
Yeah, there's like some vagueness to it, right? As far as like what exact Anakin are we seeing?
and same thing with him going from dark side to light. Like I felt like it was him. Okay, she passed the lesson, and then he kind of steps back and he blinks away, and he's like back, and then he's like pretty much like good job. Like
Yep.
there's hope for you yet.
Yep.
So like I thought it was all just part of his training.
Yep. There's
It
hope
wasn't
for you
really
yet.
like going to the dark side again. You know, it was.
Mm-hmm. And we know, like, based on how this is, like, we know what happened with Anakin as Darth Vader. He eventually turned back, right?
Right.
So he's kind of I felt like he was leaving the choice up to her of what she was going to do with this. She has the ultimate choice.
Mhm.
What are you going to do? This is your final lesson. You need to close out this chapter of her just being mad all the time. Or being I shouldn't say mad. I should just say, you know, probably just tired of everything that has happened and really reluctant to take chances on anything. You know, like, disconnected, and like I'm sure this will help her relationship grow with Sabine, in that, you know, we know that it seems like there could have been some involvement with when Sabine's family died, that Ahsoka was not allowing to happen, or Ahsoka wasn't willing to take that risk because of what might become of that. Same with what we talk about, like, it'd be better for the map to just be destroyed and nobody get to Ezra, and Ezra be what he is, rather than us taking the chance. So it's almost like, as opposed to when you think about Luke Skywalker as a character, he leaves Dagobah because he's like, no, I need to help my friends. Like for her, none of that is there. She's like, I've been through like what she's been through. She's like, I don't want to take any risk, because she has a lot of trust issues with everything. Anakin left her. Like I said, she was betrayed by the Jedi Order. She's just like done with taking any chances. But then she gets redeemed, obviously. Then her whole tone kind of changes. And then she's like, I'm going right in this Purgle's mouth and going right through right to this other galaxy. Any closing thoughts on this part that you guys want to mention?
No, it was beautiful. I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, just incredible. Cage said, I took him saying live or die as a literal thing. Choose to live and wake up in the ocean, or die after you fall into the ocean. Yeah, maybe she would have just been maybe she would have been done. That's a really good point too. Maybe it would have just been like, if you choose this, your purpose is over, because there's no hope for you, and you're going to die in the water, and that'll be that. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's just so cool. I also liked how right at this part, like, cinematically, he's behind her, and then the camera pans and he's gone. Just like the subtle camera stuff, I thought was so cool.
Also, that touches on the final line. We'll get to it, but
yeah. No, you're good. And then she goes obviously back down in the water, and then she's floating in the water. This was cool. I thought this was all cool. And she's like, Anakin.
Good job.
Dude, I felt like this
That's
is
really
one of
good.
the most like gritty. I mean, the smoke, the
Yeah.
water effects,
Yeah, it was really cool.
man, the wind. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really, really.
Yeah.
This is like some Andor
Yeah, right
kind
here.
of feeling.
Yeah, the darker theme
Hmm.
of like, and I wonder how they film. Like, this is the stuff where I'm like, I wonder how they filmed this. And I really, really, really hope we get a behind the scenes for this show. They've got
Lots
to
of
do it.
Fans,
gotta do it.
air
Yeah.
movers.
But it's
Yeah,
gonna
lots
happen.
of fans and air movers. But yeah, like I mean, some of this is probably the volume all back in here, right?
Yeah. Some
but-
gritty war stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. It has like that Andor vibe, and the whole season has been kind of had like that darker tones and darker vibe.
There's nothing, and not to. I don't mean to insult anyone's taste or anything, but like so far in the show, there's been nothing like embarrassing. You know, like Leia in a trench coat, like things like that. It's been
Yeah, when
you know.
Obi-Wan's sticking out like this far with his trench coat, and you can see
Right.
4 legs walking, like nobody's gonna notice.
yeah, and it's not striving to be like super mature either. It's just like grounded and fun.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. Agreed. Spotchka, you have anything else to add for this part?
No, I really kind of agree with you. This cinematography, man. I'm interested to see the behind the scenes shot on how they filmed it too, because it almost seems like they just had a giant warehouse and filled it with a bunch of water, right? Because like that water looked a little too real.
I mean, it's real water. I'm pretty sure.
The visual, the shot of her like when she's under the water and you can see her eyes under the water. It's another one of the, like this episode has some of the best shots overall in Star Wars. I think that you're right there when she looks up. It's almost like cinematic, also a representation of like her reawakening, right? Because like we're about to get into it.
She's seeing the light.
Right. She's no longer Ahsoka the Gray. She's Ahsoka the White.
100%.
Yep. It's also interesting because in Rebels you see her wearing the white outfit, so it's kind of like we knew that this was probably coming at some point, right? But it was like retconned in this show.
Mm-hmm.
Was it, or do you think we're just going to see that maybe towards the end of the series?
I don't know. I feel like when she was wearing that, wasn't that when she was picking up Sabine to go with her?
Yeah, it has to kind of be a retcon. Otherwise,
I think it's a retcon at this point. Yeah, and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah,
you know, the live action interpretation of it makes sense. Because this is the way that they ended up doing it. This is the way. And then yeah, Mike, you touched on this as far as like Jason kind of yeah, like him looking up and seeing the ship, and then he's like, "Oh, they got her." Pretty cool. Then we get her in this cool PJs outfit.
Grandma Ahsoka, man.
And then I was like, "Oh, Hot Toys is gonna do this one."
It's cool to see her little ear holes. I've always wondered where she hears.
Yeah. I thought this was cool to like finally like actually see.
I missed that.
Like you could see her, without having that piece on that like this part.
Little
you could see this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like that's so cool. I think I was like, oh dang, this actually looks, and it looks like literally as part, like it's part of her. It's crazy.
I
like how it's got the depressions. It's got the depressions of her headpiece.
Yeah,
so it just adds more realism to it. You know, you take off your hat and you're like, oh, what's that?
She really looks like her grandmother from Tales of the Jedi here, which I really appreciate.
Oh yes. Because that's the first time I think you see
she looks old.
Aleku meeting with the hairline.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool. And then she walks out here and like, and I'm like, oh, okay, new outfit's coming, 100%. She's got this white like
Ralph
shawl
Lauren
thing on.
RL. Yeah,
like
a Hot Toys collector.
Yep. Yeah, I was like, we're getting something. Something.
I want this.
Face right there. He's like, oh, we're getting into Ahsoka. Yeah,
I want this.
Yeah. I also really like this when Jason's walking. This is like the perfect humor spot when he's like, are you going to help me build a lightsaber? No.
Nope.
You know how to build lightsabers? Yes. I just thought that was so good.
Yeah. Great Star Wars humor.
Yeah.
Done right.
Yep.
Will you train me to be a Jedi? No.
Yeah. You can just see like in this that, Ahsoka's demeanor's already changed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Reborn.
I want to talk about
baby.
this because she does like psychometry in this. It was just kind of like, I mean, I think that's I guess what it's called in the Star Wars universe, but it's like a force echo, right?
Yeah.
Which is like from like what Cal Kestis does in the games, It's just like, I was like, oh my God. I was like, she's not going to do a force echo. I was like yelling. I was thinking I'm crazy, but.
So my only beef with that though, is like, she kind of had force echo in episode 1.
Yeah.
And I wish that was held off as a new power for this, but whatever.
Yeah.
It
was
honestly
it.
gave me like PTSD flashbacks to like having to meditate and save your, checkpoint. I was like, Ahsoka, save your checkpoint. That way you don't have to fight as Anakin again.
Yeah.
He says, I wish they would have just called it Force Echoes. Yeah, I feel like that's a cool name. But yeah, very cool. And she's like, yeah, they took her, yada, 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 yada. Yeah. Anything else? I guess we're going to get to this next part, right? Where
Purgles.
we see Purgles. Then we see Mon Mothma again. They're talking about stripping her rank or whatever, right? Yeah, whatever.
You can do it. I don't believe it.
It'll be interesting to see what happens if Hera actually stays like in command for the New Republic versus just goes rogue and she's done with it. Because it's just she's always aligned with what the opposite of what people want her to do, to help the greater good.
I just want to shout out Paulson Lee here for
Oh,
Carson Cleva, right? Like I love that they're kind of making him the Phil Coulson of the Star Wars universe,
Kills
right?
it,
Just showing up in every project and kind of being like I feel like for the Heir to the Empire movie, he's going to be the one that is like the Nick Fury running around and assembling everybody, be like, kind of need your help, you're kind of an obligation in the New Republic, so come with me. Yeah.
And I just want to touch on one thing, like as what we just said about Hera. It's actually very realistic because oftentimes in revolution, the installed regime, we've seen this in every communist revolution throughout history, they get rid of the rebels because that, like, people who have that spirit, they can't really assimilate into what they've now just created because they're just not that kind of person inherently.
Yeah.
But that doesn't serve this new installed government.
Yep.
So that kind of clash is actually very realistic and interesting. The American Revolution is the only one that seemed to have bucked that trend.
Yeah, they want you to just do it. There's a lot of similarities between how the Republic does things and how the Empire does things in a way. You know what I mean? Like everybody wants order. Whatever you're doing, you want order, especially when it comes to military, right? Just how extreme do you want to take it?
Starting to sound like that one Imperial from Mando, Steve.
Right.
What one? We're talking about.
Oh, the one from what was it? The one with what's that comedian's name? The bald dude.
Oh, you're talking about.
Bill Burr.
You're talking about.
Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill.
The guy
Miggs
who played
Mayfeld. Miggs Mayfeld.
Yeah, the guy who played in the white, was it the Frost Giant guy
Miggs,
from
dude.
Game of Thrones? I haven't seen Game
Yeah.
of Thrones. I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones guy. Yeah, that was
Wow, dude, I'm shocked you haven't seen that show. Wow.
Yeah, me too.
It's on the list.
Wow.
List.
Yeah, especially with your artistic talents, like you'll be in how much you like cinema and shows and stuff. Yeah, you got to watch
how
that at some point.
impulsive I am, bro. I start watching a series that I know for a fact has good figures surrounding it. You know what I'm gonna do? So I don't. I need to wait.
Yep. Fair. This was so cool. This was like just incredible for a TV show. Like you don't get this a lot outside of movies, I feel like. Like this was like a cinematic, like you want to talk about like cinematic masterpiece in my mind as far as what we've seen. Like I was watching this in my basement. Yeah, it was very, very cool.
There were a lot of shots too to render.
Oh yeah, there were so many. You have them not only from like, inside the ship, but outside the ship. Just a ton of stuff.
Like you have a good sense of scale next to the ghost.
Yep.
This felt very Clone Wars to me, with the Purgle kind of rising up, and then that music reminded me a lot of like the end of Clone Wars as well. So it was really touching too.
Yeah.
Very Clone
Yeah,
Wars.
this is badass.
Yes.
Could y'all imagine real quick? Like, I know it's impossible. I think Ben Thomas said this, right? He said he wanted a 1/6 Purgle.
Yeah.
As crazy as that sounds, could you imagine Hot Toys doing an expo where it's a 1/6 scale Purgle, but collectors walk around inside of it, and inside of it is displays of like upcoming announcements, right? Like Sabine, Thrawn, Ahsoka.
That would actually be really cool.
That'd be cool.
It'd be cool to have
Get a semi truck to haul it to the venue.
It'd be cool to have like,
or 3D print it and part it out.
yeah, or a wall sticker. Like I have a few of those for Star Wars, like that cover the whole wall. If you just had like one long Purgle.
Yeah,
Dude, it'd be sick.
There's your next figure right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the
Hell
picture. I'm trying to find when she like. It's hard to like skip this. I wanted to get a shot like a front shot. But yeah, I mean, come on.
Moon Knight
This is coming
Ahsoka,
next.
man.
This is coming next. Moon Knight.
I'll be
Ahsoka.
coming home. Yep.
Also, I don't know if we've had like that kind of texture of her cloak in a Hot Toy figure before. It's like, I don't know, like that kind of
yeah, it's like a thicker blanketed style.
Yeah.
Is it? Because it looks the same as the other one, but just gray or white.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Hot Toys will just do it like that. They
'Cause I
probably,
don't-
knowing Hot Toys, they probably will just do it. They'll probably just take that exact poncho or the cloak or whatever you want to call it, the shawl, and just hood and just turn it into. I guess
That's
this is kind of
true.
like a.
I don't have
like
the
a,
original
this is kind of
Ahsoka,
like
but
a
you guys are
robe.
right. Yeah.
So they'll probably just take that and make it white. That's probably exactly what's gonna happen. And also, this outfit has a lot of similarity. Like her pants, they're probably just gonna take the boots. They're probably just gonna literally take all the same parts and change them white.
I did a freeze frame on the episode. It's the exact same outfit, but just reverse colors.
Yep.
So.
That's cool. And you know what? This is the exact same cloak at the end of Rebels. And you like the same amount, like the 2 X's right here. It's exactly the same. It's pretty cool.
It's almost like she turned her clothes inside out. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's like, I mean, I'm gonna guess, yeah, like this is the same. This is what you're talking about, Mike.
Yeah.
This one's coming, 100%.
Definitely.
And then everybody's gonna be real disappointed because they're, yeah.
It's a different headpiece too, which is cool. You know, anytime you have a little bit of a difference between the figures besides color is nice. And the Leku's longer.
And then they'll use the same exact head sculpt.
Yeah.
They better not.
I don't know if they're.
I
I really think they will. They just released it. I don't know if they're gonna just go make another. Yeah, I don't see them. The other
we
one
have
just
all
came
what
out.
we need. Let's just repaint it and throw it out there.
Yeah,
You know why
they
I
have
don't-
everything.
And
don't
because
mind
this
that.
just came out, I think
Yeah.
that's another reason they'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know. And then it's like, also then it's kind of like, aren't you discounting the work of the sculptor who just did this prior one by just saying, hey, we want to improve it beyond what it is and let's release it when this other one just came out? You know, like I feel like, I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they don't care. Maybe the sculptor who did this, the first one, would just like try to improve upon it or something. I don't know. I don't know the inner
My only
workings of
problem
that,
is the
Rick's
eyes.
over here in the comments saying, did you guys notice that if you turn your everything inside out, it's white? Look, man, some of your hoodies, okay, have inner Sherpa lining that is white. So you never know.
Nevertheless, looks badass, and I think having this even like, I mean, for my display, I would take the darker version and stand it right next to this version. I would probably want them like standing next to each other. I think that would look so cool, and you know, in different poses, and like, or at least having them on the same shelf would be very cool. But we're 100% going to get this figure. It's going to happen. Also, yeah, Carson David just killing it again at this part.
And the return of Brendan Wayne, Mando.
Yep.
No.
Yep. But yeah, this part was funny, and then yeah, I know, like then later it's like you need to get your ship out of the way. I thought that was funny too. But and then we get obviously like this, Ahsoka's reaching out, you know, connects with the Force. Oh, look at that. Look at this newfound Ahsoka right here. Just Ahsoka the White, right? That's what everybody's saying. Then he's like, what does he say? Get back in here.
You best get back in the ship.
Yeah.
And she's like,
And this was like, even the Purgle, like with the mouth opening and stuff, was just like, yeah, it's a big undertaking. I feel like cinematically to try to make something like this happen. And it kind of reminded me of what's the like the space slug, you know, when they go into the space slug.
That was a point I was going to make when people are like, how could this animal exist in space? I'm like, well, you did have a slug on an asteroid with no atmosphere. So,
and they didn't even know they were inside. They didn't even know they were inside of a creature. You know what I mean? Yep, has been done. You can never count out Star Wars for anything creature related like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they're in there. Purgles looking really good. This is such a cool shot. I mean, the Purgle is just so cool. Yeah, and they're like, okay, get out of the way. This was so cool too, with the New Republic and just the Purgle
They're all
going
shocked to
along.
see him,
Yeah,
like,
they're all
surrounding
like, what is this?
They didn't have time to get out of the way.
This is going to be interesting to see how this part plays out, with Hera going back and telling them like, hey, this is what we saw. And then this person, like, is this lady gonna attest to that and say like, you know, this is what happened, like they're telling the truth? And then that's another thing, is how is the New Republic gonna react when they know that they're actually going to find Thrawn, and like, are they actually gonna start believing it? Are we gonna get some of that in this, you know, the coming episodes of what's the New Republic actually gonna, when are they gonna believe that Thrawn is actually a threat? That kind of remains to be seen. But or are they still going to just be like, no, we don't believe you? Because at some point they're going to have to realize it, and they're going to get involved, right?
They're going to believe it when Thrawn shows up, man.
Yeah, they're going to believe it when Thrawn shows up right back in that galaxy and starts, you know, potentially starts a war, right? But yeah, this was really cool right here. Just
that was a great ending.
Yeah, very perfect ending. Perfect ending. They shoot off into God knows where the next galaxy, and then that's it.
So that was the line that I wanted to talk. So Hu Yang says, we could end up anywhere. And she says, anywhere is better than nowhere. And I do feel like that was connected to her lesson, is that as long as you're moving forward, you know, and you have a goal, you might not know the exact direction to that goal, but that's better than just dying in that water.
Yep.
You know,
100%, dude. Yeah. Yeah, dying in that water, or just being stagnant in your life and not doing anything.
Exactly.
You know? Like you're not, you're stuck. She was so stuck. Yeah, she was stuck where she was. And I think it's interesting now looking back at the first few episodes, because I know we were all kind of like, well, she's not really like, she's just kind of boring and stuff. But I feel like we kind of talked about as far as a character development standpoint that she was going to end up probably changing to an extent. But it was just like she was so stuck. Like there was nothing that she was really motivated to do other than to not take any risks, and that made it boring, right? You like, that's not what happens in Star Wars with a main character.
I think this really helps her character backstory too. Like obviously she wasn't created when the original trilogy took place, but everybody's like, well, where was she during this time? And now you can kind of piece it together that she's running from everything, and she was so disconnected that, you know, she was just on the run, kind of laying low. And it makes a lot more sense now if you think about it, because now she's finally liberated from that after all of it. So that's at least what I took out of it, and kind of makes everything make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
Spotchka, you got anything to add?
I like how this episode was able to have a 3-plot way of telling its story, right? Some of these episodes and the last few ones, like you guys have mentioned, it's interesting to go back and look. The first 2 episodes, I think, are a perfect example, right? This one it's setting up an example of you being stuck in a rock and a hard place, right? Like it's relatable, right? That's kind of bringing back to part of the reason why people love Star Wars, right? You can see yourself in a lot of the situations and a lot of the lessons, right? So I really appreciated the fact that it felt like a mini movie, and really felt like, hey, once again, thank you for being fans of Star Wars. Thank you. Like it's almost like a thank you from Dave Filoni for trusting me with this series, and here you go. So
Filoni delivered, man. Yep. Oh, Mike, you're muted.
Am I muted?
Yep, you're good now. We can hear you.
Okay. I've seen a lot of I have seen some negative takes on this, and they're like, oh, it's just fan service. Dude, service me. I am a fan. I put 40 years into this.
Right.
You know, as long as the fan service serves the story.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it.
You know, there's good fan service and there's bad. Like
Yeah,
in my opinion, having Kenobi tell Rey, these are your first steps, makes no sense. It's just fan service to hear his voice. Okay. That's fan service. It doesn't work for me. Having Anakin in this episode is not fan service. It is serving this story and the character. And if you know, if I feel like rewarded for being a fan of him as a character previously, and I get to see him again, that's just cherry on top, man. That's amazing.
Yep.
You know,
100%.
Yeah.
Very well said. Very well said. Like, get paid off knowing the arc of Clone Wars, like I said, how Anakin and Ahsoka were all throughout their arc, and knowing everything that you know about them, to culminate in this moment and that be a final lesson for after everything they've been through, was just like, it couldn't have been done better in my mind. Like, Filoni 100% delivered. And like, there's a lot of amazing fan service. I think that's a really, really good point you made about, it's fan service that serves the story. I think that's a really important point that moving forward, I hope not only Star Wars but other IPs as well could actually take that into account when they're making content.
Take
you
notes,
know.
Marvel.
Yeah, stop. Like, it's got to serve the story. You can't just have all these individual, like, you can have individual stories, but you got to have an overarching thing that's gonna, culminate this stuff. And Filoni is the one who holds the key to doing that. It honestly seems like he's the only one that really has that level of understanding when it comes to like how complex Star Wars is and how the universe is. Like, he really doesn't miss as far as how to connect everything together. And you can tell he puts a lot of thought into it and how it's happening.
100%. Yeah. We got to thank Dave Filoni for this episode alone. Like,
Thank you,
even if
Dave.
the rest of this, like, even if the next 3 episodes don't land, this episode was amazing. And
Yeah.
hopefully Disney takes notes, right? Because this episode's blowing up. It's being
Yes.
talked about. Like, I think you mentioned it, Steve, a few days ago, like, behind the scenes. We've not seen social media, just media in general, pop culture right now, talk about Star Wars like they have since like 2015.
Yeah.
Right. Or since the acquisition of Disney. So this might be turning some heads, and hopefully Disney takes notes, right? Maybe they're like, instead of like announcing a bunch of movies that we're not going to deliver on, let's officially give people what they want. Let's do a Clone Wars miniseries, or let's do more stories like this that you can get more backstories on stories like that. So 100% love where this story is going.
Yeah. It was crazy because social media was blowing up when they just showed Anakin at the end of episode 4. So like this took it to a whole different, thing. Once we get, people were going nuts over just like a simple Anakin reveal. And this took it to just the whole next level.
They track that stuff, dude. They're seeing that when it trends on X, they notice. You know?
Yeah, 100%. Any closing thoughts on this episode, you guys? Anything else you want to add?
I hope that we get a dark side Anakin maybe for Revenge of the Sith. Not right now.
We will see a dark side Anakin again, but yeah, I would say it's coming for the anniversary. That would be my prediction.
I liked my prediction of having a Hu Yang and a Chopper 2-pack. Okay.
Hu Yang would
That'd
be
be
so
cool.
cool. Give me all the droids.
Just give
Hu Yang would be such a cool droid to have.
right. Come on.
Yeah, we're 100% gonna get a Chopper.
I think they're gonna go balls to the wall with this series with how good it's doing.
Oh,
I
great.
really-
You're getting a lot of it.
Seeing how Mando did and how much they put into Mando figure wise, like I don't know how many Mando figures we have, but it's like probably 30.
The one with the top. When we did our tier
It's-
ranking list,
yeah.
the majority of those came from the Mandalorian line.
Yeah.
So,
Like there's Mando's, I think for Star Wars, Mando might be the one that has, I think, the most characters in one, like releases in one line.
Yep.
We don't have a movie coming up for a while, you know. And we don't know the future. Those other shows that they have on deck, you know, some of them might not even air from the things I'm hearing about how those productions are going.
Yeah.
The Lando show we were promised and never got.
Yeah. I think there was some news on that today, but I got to look into that again. But
I think I always say, is it Taika Waititi?
Yep, Taika Waititi, Star Wars.
Taika Waititi. He said today, he spoke about somebody else's movie. I don't remember the exact thing. I saw an article about it. He said, well, hopefully he'll have the ability to finish it, unlike me or something. So I think they either canceled his movie and I think I had heard that before, but he came out and actually said like there was a quoted line. There was a quoted line and he said like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my movie's like basically not going to happen at this point.
Love and Thunder really tarnished his name for a few years.
Honestly, it was like I love his humor and I love some of the, like one of the movies he did was
What We Do in the Shadows.
you guys know, I didn't see that, but you know Free Guy, or was it Free Guy?
Yeah,
with Ryan Reynolds, which I thought was really good, and like his humor for that movie. And didn't he direct that movie?
No, that's Sean Levy. The guy's
but I know like Taika Waititi's in it. Okay, for some reason I thought he directed it, but I'm trying to think. I feel like in general I've liked his movies and I've liked the humor that he had, like Thor Ragnarok. You know what I mean? Like that's the one that I think about. But yeah, Love and Thunder just was a miss when it came to that level of stuff for me. I didn't like, but anyways, and I'm sure Disney takes note because look what happened to D&D when they messed up season 8 of Game of Thrones. Disney said we're canceling your trilogy or whatever it was that was going to happen. They're like, nope, we're not gonna we're not going that route because of what happened is my guess. You know, we can speculate all we want, but like it's doesn't seem to be a coincidence.
I think they're just scared, man, because if you look at just blockbusters in general from like 2019 to now, they've been losing billions, and Disney's probably the studios that's lost the most. So I think, especially for Star Wars, arguably Marvel, and I would say Star Wars is bigger, right? That's their biggest IP, so they're scared to have another Last Jedi. They're scared to fail again. And yeah, man, you might be right. It might be a few years before we actually get any like Heir to the Empire, the Mando movie, any of these. So
when I was talking about, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
No, well, the next show that was scheduled to release is Skeleton Crew. Okay. First of all, the show is mostly
2 years ago. By the way,
isn't that geared towards kids too?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. So
yeah.
It's kids in the show now. The latest news I can find on it is Skeleton Crew will be releasing in 2023. Really? I think
way.
You know what I'm saying? So there's
we're getting it's got to be. It's probably gonna be next year, and then we're getting Andor season 2 next year.
Right.
Which
they don't want to make figures from.
Yeah, and they're supposed to do Acolyte now. I thought they were supposed to do Acolyte next year.
Acolyte supposedly is 2024. Again, you don't know. These are rumors, but I'm hearing that Disney is very unhappy with the production of that show. So we'll see what happens. Which sucks
because that Acolyte could be so promising in that era. You know, in that time period.
Keanu Reeves is in it too, man. That's
like, please do not mess up the Acolyte. Please do not mess up that time period because yes, that could be important. I just want to get to a couple of things in the chat here. In Filoni, we trust. Was this episode longer than the others? I think
51 minutes.
I was just saying, I think it was. He also says Disney Plus price is going up next month.
It is $13.
Jeez. Yeah. $13 for just Disney Plus?
Yeah, they're hurting.
I feel like I'm paying $13.99 for like the Disney, Hulu, ESPN bundle. Is that going up too?
So let's recap real quick. Like for their content wise, besides because Ahsoka is going to wrap up October 3rd. So what the hell?
Well, the reason why they're upping it is because all these streaming services are losing hella money. Like they're losing so much money.
Yeah. They're also upping it because they lost cricket and they lost all of India. They lost all their subscriber base there, which was huge.
Yeah, so, and then like I'm sure the writer's strike has something to do with. I would think with some of this too. You know,
time to share accounts, guys.
What'd you say?
Time to share accounts.
Well, Disney said they're cracking down on that in 2024.
Yeah, Netflix has been saying that too.
Yeah, no, Disney said we're going to make it a priority as part of our cost strategy to crack down on account sharing. They're going to go that route next year. They're going to go that. What'd you say?
So they should make it a priority to pay their writers. Worried about people using passwords.
This is how cheap 100%. They are. So one of the reasons why they pulled Willow, it's like because you're like, why would you pull it? Just leave it there for people to watch. They don't want to pay the writers of that movie of that show residuals.
They pulled that show off Disney Plus already.
It's gone.
Wow.
So every time you watch it, they have to pay the writers, and they don't want to do that. So they pulled it. This is how cheap they're getting.
Yeah. I read something too that what they were doing with people who were coming in as extras is they were having them come in for like a few hours and paying them for a few hours of work and then like sneakily putting it in these people's contracts that we can use your likeness and your stuff for other content. So they can just like place them wherever they want in all these other shows, but only pay them for a couple hours. But of course, like as extras, you're not going to know that. But like I saw there was like some uproar about that because they're just, and then they're like using whatever. I mean, I'm sure some of that is like AI generated type stuff where they can plug people in with what, like once you give somebody that, like once you give them your likeness and stuff or whatever, what have you, like they're just being shady with some of the stuff. You know what I mean? Like give people the writers are what are literally going to be making you money on this stuff. You know what I mean?
There are people that make a living as an extra. I mean, it's not a glamorous life.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of money, but they're on set every day, 12, 16 hours. And this is what they do for a living. So, they don't want to be, show up one day and that's used in perpetuity. Yeah.
And then they just use that and they can use it in like other stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, that sucks, man. Mm-hmm. Like just quit being greedy. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I know Disney's like the lowest they've been stock wise, whatever, in 40 plus years, but you guys are still making millions of dollars. Yeah, they did. And it also like the price of admission to get into the park and all that stuff is just astronomical. Like if the entry point was less, you probably would make more money.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
know. Well, it's like I'm old enough to remember when when Napster was killing CDs.
Yeah.
And the response to that was, well, let's make CDs $30. No, idiot. Make them 5. And then people will keep buying them. By making them 30, you're forcing people to pirate music more. These companies, it's just so short-sighted.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? What are you guys doing? We're a little over the 2-hour mark. I want to spend you guys got like a couple more minutes?
Oh,
A
absolutely.
couple more minutes on Friday night. I just want to talk a little bit more, just bring it back to figures real quick before we sign off for the night I think we're all in agreement that this, a new Ahsoka figure is coming. Anybody have any other thoughts on that? I mean, that's probably, I would think that's probably going to be the next one that's going to be revealed, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, definitely.
Do you have any other thoughts as far as this, this episode goes, or just in general, as far as what, I know we talked about, like Graham, you brought up the point, you think they're going to go all in on this. Like, how far do you think they're going to take it?
Well, it's tough to say because hot toys is hot toys, but with the reception that this is getting, I mean, who wouldn't want the droids and the side characters, and obviously Thrawn will be coming. I don't know about Balin. I think that's a tricky one. I don't know if we're gonna get him.
I'm worried about Shin. I'm worried about Shin a little bit too.
That one worries me too. I could, they don't do, because typically, with villains, you don't get all of the villains. You get the main villain, the big boss. So I could see Thrawn being the only one, but I could see, Hera coming and everybody. But I do think though that they'll do a lot of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see.
What's funny is we do these shows every week, and I don't think we've mentioned Morgan Elsbeth once.
As a figure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And look, I'm not going to say anything negative about her as an actress, but I just think that she's been like underdeveloped. They've allowed her to be sort of a mustache twirler, and so I think that if we're going to see some cuts, I don't think she's going to make the cut.
I don't
But
know.
I really do
Yeah.
hope Shin and Balin.
Yeah, it's interesting too because like Morgan Elsbeth is like, we know she's got power,
Mm-hmm.
but they haven't really shown anything more than her just being like a gateway to getting them to Thrawn, because she's the one that
Yeah.
activates the map and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
She was
like,
badass when she fought us.
She was.
Yeah,
she
she
was
was
really
cool.
badass.
Yeah.
So like, she seems like she's powerful, but yeah, like I said, hopefully we'll get more from her.
She's related to Bruce Lee, isn't she? The actress.
She is his goddaughter. Whether that means she's a blood relative or not, I don't know,
Yeah.
but she's his goddaughter. I think, if we want to get into predictions,
Yeah.
I think now this isn't really Thrawn's character, but he wouldn't just kill her, but I could see him like coming on and being like, "Thanks, now get the hell out of here."
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Be interesting to see like what he does with everybody once he gets kind of what he wants, like what's going to happen. And is that going to cause turmoil between, Balin and Shin, and what's going to happen there as far as the buy-in with that? You know what I mean? Are they going to actually follow? Like, yeah, Thrawn has his vision and they're talking about, the greater good of Thrawn, but are they going to really like what he has to do? Or what he wants to do, that remains to be seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spotchka, you want to give your figure thoughts?
Personally, I think that Hu Yang's definitely coming. Chopper, Hera. I really want to see the Thrawn though. Like I have a feeling that we all have an idea of what these figures are going to look like, but I feel like Thrawn is the one we all want to see the most because we not trying to throw dirt towards having Cad Bane yet, but some of us who have Cad Bane know what a blue figure with the red eyes look like so far.
Damn you.
And
Sick.
and
hopefully next week.
Right. It's exciting to have a Elon Musk with blue skin and red eyes as a figure with a white, almost like Krennic look to him. So
Yeah.
very excited. Honestly, for the Ahsoka figure, the Ahsoka the White, if you will, it's not hard. Reverse the colors, make it white and gray.
They're going to be lazy on that one, man. I fear they're going to be lazy on it.
Dude, because Graham, did you break at some point the torso area and then put it back in?
Yeah, in my video it snapped apart, but it did peg back in.
See, and that's my issue. I did that on a live stream a few weeks ago. That should not have to happen for a Jedi figure. Okay, and remember, like my soul literally exited my body. Okay, I don't want to experience again for Ahsoka. The treatment that we got, like with DX23 Luke, that's what I think should be the standard going forward for Jedi releases. Now, given I understand the skin body, Nick's Collectibles did a custom body on it, double jointed the elbows. If a collector can do it, you can do it when you're charging $300 for a figure. So
Word. That's a good
I
point.
hope they're not lazy. I know they're going to be, but I like to be wishful thinking over here.
Optimistic.
Yeah,
You know, if they
optimistic.
don't update the head sculpt, personally, I'm not too upset about it because it looks like Ahsoka. It doesn't necessarily look like Rosario Dawson,
Yeah.
but it looks like Ahsoka from animation to live. You know what I mean? So it still looks great.
That's a good point. Like with her character, is she a character that you feel like are you willing to give them a little bit of a pass as far as her character goes because her character is so unique as opposed to some of these other like portraits that we see?
Well,
you know?
Yeah, honestly, man, I prefer it because I don't see Rosario Dawson, and there's nothing wrong with her, and she's a beautiful woman, and all of that. But like, I just see Ahsoka when I look at it.
Yeah.
I don't see an actress, so that's why I don't really mind it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like how you can change up the eyes a little bit. I feel like the angles. That's one of the figures where the angles and the eye rolls are like the rolling eyes are change the appearance of what the head sculpt looks like.
Yeah, and the animated one gets slept on a lot, but dude, I love that figure, and the rolling eyes on that are great too.
Yeah, I need to pick that up. Oh, I did not know that the animated one had rolling eyes.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, that's cool.
It's a great figure, man.
Chris said he needs to fix his Ahsoka as well. Dang.
Yeah, it's not too hard. You just got a little bit of elbow grease into it.
Yeah.
I said this last night on Copper Drop. I thought it would have been interesting to recreate the World Between Worlds scene or any of the Clone Wars stuff we got in this episode. If you're not a fan of how the Clone Wars figure looks, turn the figure around and then have your Clone Wars Anakin running with some clones going past them. Add some fog in there for video effects. I think that would look pretty sick.
I think people are going to do some cool stuff with recreating scenes and stuff with figures.
Nick's Collectibles has been doing a little bit.
He
of
did
it.
a really cool. I saw the photos today that he did, which were really really cool, recreating like the inner, like the World Between Worlds scene.
And that's going to be great. There's going to be a run on 501st right now if it hasn't started already.
Yeah,
I'm glad I stocked up on those bad boys.
So while we were talking, I was getting a little creative, right? So for a World Between Worlds display, think about maybe like, I don't want to say glass, but maybe some acrylic, right? A panel that you can have, and maybe get an artist to like almost like airbrush it to give it that like luminous effect. That way it looks like that little base that they're standing on. And Graham over here with the all black background, Steve, that would look sick in a display. So that'd be really
that
cool.
would be a cool dynamic base to give a figure. Is some type of like they already have like kind of that blue water effect with the Mando Ahsoka. Just take that to it, like go beyond that and add it in, and you can just do it with acrylic or plastic or whatever you're gonna do it with. But
that'd be cheap to do.
Like just add that in as an accessory or something, a strip of like a display base. Knowing them, they'll do a rectangle display base and they'll do either a sticker top World Between Worlds. Graham, I think you might have mentioned this too. They'll just put a little thing over the top of it and make it look like the flooring. But I think this is a great dynamic base opportunity.
So Steve, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Being as giant of a Star Wars fan as you are, where does this entire episode rank for you in terms of Star Wars? Like in episodes, Rebels, Clone Wars movies?
Oh, this is up there with the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, this episode's up there with the best of all stuff that's come out for Star Wars.
Yeah.
100%.
I think this episode is the best Star Wars we've gotten since Revenge of the Sith. And I know a lot of people are like, what about Andor? So Andor has an asterisk because, in my opinion, that is a spin-off. It's like, how do I explain this? I mean, it's spin-off. Sorry, I'll come up with a better explanation later. But
it's kind of an exploration of a different part of the Star Wars universe that doesn't necessarily have a huge. I don't want to say
stands on its own.
It fleshes out the character more of who we already know as Cassian in a main event in Star Wars. It's just a way to go and look at kind of like I don't want to say off world, but you know what I mean, where you're getting that other aspect and other view of Star Wars and stuff that's going on, almost like the kind of day to day and what's going on with some of the people rather than like the big overarching events.
Right. It's valuable. Oh, the way I would explain it is like there have been great one shots. They're called in comics, where you explore the Penguin. Batman's not in it. It's just a great story about the Penguin. But that's not Batman. That's a character study, and Andor is a great character study. That's why I don't include it when I say this is the best Star Wars we've gotten since Revenge.
I mean, the same could be same for the Walking Phoenix Joker movie, right? That's a standalone character study.
Exactly. And those are valid, and I'm happy they exist. But yeah, in what Star Wars is, and expanding the lore and mythology, and this is I think the best we've seen.
Yeah.
100%.
I think this is, and that's when I say this episode, not only this episode just had it all, everything you want to see: story, cinematics, themes, just everything about it. And like, obviously with our conversation, just how in depth, like anytime you can go this in depth with it, you know that it's good. You know what I mean? We get Hayden, obviously. I'm going to watch it again.
The fact that all four of us can come away with a different opinion about what was happening.
Yeah.
That's
like that mysterious element. Like I said, that's kind of been missing from stuff. Like they haven't been as, like, everything else has been to the point. This is what you're getting. Not a ton of deep dives into episodes. In this, I feel like every episode has had something you can really deep dive into. This one especially,
and it's okay to not
especially
have all go back to Empire, and we can all have a different opinion of what happened in the cave and what that was and what it meant. Right? And that's like what this does.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Wow. And on top of that, just like the big moment for finally Ahsoka getting closure after years and years and years of consuming that content about Ahsoka, and closing out that part of her arc, for me is just like, I mean, it's just not a lot of things can top that level of content. So yeah.
I don't know, man. Heir to the Empire, because remember, Dave Filoni is directing that, and we've talked about how we wanted more from this episode. I feel like this is just him cooking, right?
Well, I think we're going to get more from it all together once they bring in, it's gonna be, once that happens, when the big bad, Thrawn becomes the big bad, and how they're going to culminate everything with Mandalorian and this show. Like, that's a really big undertaking. That's a really big undertaking. You got a lot of moving pieces there.
But what a challenge to produce a film, to make a film that requires you to have seen television. That's besides maybe Star Trek.
Yep.
The original Star Trek films. This is the first time I can think of that being the case.
Yeah. I hope that, I honestly, like, if they're going to do a trilogy, do it based on this and let this be a big thing, because Thrawn, I think I said this before, Thrawn is a villain that they should not take lightly. You can't Gideon Thrawn.
You can't Cad Bane.
You cannot do that to this character.
No.
Like, I don't get real picky about stuff, but if they take Thrawn and just he just gets killed off or whatever, or they don't, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen with how the show is going and stuff. And like I said, this show, it's kind of hard to explain, but the lore runs so deep with this show, and everything that's kind of happened before this show, there's just too much there for them to really make something that shallow happen with Thrawn, with how much they have available to use at their disposal. You know what I mean? So, and with Dave Filoni, like I said, going into the show, I was like, this is Ahsoka's Dave Filoni's baby. This is something that they're probably not going to mess up, considering how much he knows about the character. And he's the one that when George Lucas said, hey, no, Anakin has a Padawan, this is Filoni's baby. It's not, he's not going to take it lightly.
And I think he consulted with Timothy Zahn for Thrawn's appearance in this as well.
Yeah,
so there's that reverence and respect for the origin of the character.
Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully they keep doing that. But yeah, very hot, top tier Star Wars, man. I'm just
absolutely.
What a time.
What about you, man? I'm sorry, I'm not the host here, but I just wanted to ask.
Take it away, Mike.
No.
No, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. No, ask away, dude.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't feel like you had a chance to explain where this fits in for Star Wars for you.
Ooh, that's a tough question, because when when Steve was saying some of the best since Revenge of the Sith, I was thinking, well, you got Rogue One in there, which I really enjoyed a lot, and then obviously season 1, season 2 of Mando were really good.
Oh, I loved all that stuff.
Obi-Wan was really good too. So it's almost like I don't even want to compare it, and I just want to enjoy it for what it is, and know that it's some of my favorite, but not I always have a hard time just comparing stuff. Like obviously the OT is easy for me, but anything else, it's just kind of like I'm just really happy that we're getting it, and I hope this just leads to more lessons for Disney on what to do in the future, what didn't work and what is working, and just enjoying it.
Yeah.
Good perspective. I like that.
Yeah, it's really hard for me to compare stuff too. It's
'Cause
really,
it's
like it's so
I really like
different.
Rogue
There's
One, but
so much.
I couldn't tell you which one I like more. I just like them both.
And they're
for
so different. They're
different
so
reasons, yeah.
different. Yeah. Like them both. That's a really good way to put it, is like liking stuff for different reasons. Like I love Mando. Like, I mean, some of Mando I would put up there as peak Star Wars for me too. You know,
I feel like this is
opening
done
scene.
better than Mando even was. Like I think I enjoyed some of Mando. I don't know about better, but like I feel like some of this is executed better though.
Yeah. And Mando's
Yeah, I
like a new,
agree.
I think some of that kind of comes to like what I was speaking to about the amount of content that they have to work with for this show versus Mando was like a new idea. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
Mando, they had like this one, they have the groundwork already laid out so you can get really deep into it right away and develop that right away, because this is a Rebels continuation. So they have the story, the
good
plot
point.
pretty much already lined up of what's going to happen. You can do a lot more with that than, okay, let's lay the groundwork for a whole new series in Mando. So I feel like, but yeah, I'm not really big into like, this is my favorite thing. I really like this more than this because I really like it all for what it's worth in different ways.
Yeah, you see the good in all
Yeah,
of it.
that's a good way to put it. Just like, yeah, Obi-Wan, love that. You know, obviously with him being my favorite character, and just
Yeah.
I just
One-
keep bringing it.
Yeah, one thing I will say is like I recently rewatched Mando season 1 and 2, and while they are great, I do think that this show I predict will be more rewatchable. Like I think there will be more to discover, like through multiple viewings of this show than maybe Mando was. And but again, like you said, different source material.
Yeah,
This had a lot behind it already,
Mhm.
and Mando didn't. So yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah,
to
Mando was
compare
like
them, but-
Mando had like some cool adventure episodes and stuff like that built in. Like there were episodes where it wasn't always a plot advancement, and that's more pertinent with season 3, obviously, which a lot of people
yeah.
have issues with that. But yeah, this show is just every episode has been hitting. So,
Mhm.
but
I
yeah,
agree.
great show. I cannot, and every time I'm like, I can't wait to see the next episode, and I'm so happy it's on Tuesdays because this is like early on in the week. It's just so nice to.
Well, it's cool too that you do the show on Friday.
Yeah.
Because Tuesday's right around the corner.
Yep.
You know.
Go through the weekend, and then it's also like early in the work week, get to come home from work, put the kids to bed, and then just go watch the show. Is just it's a nice thing. Any closing thoughts, you guys, while we wrap it up here? Appreciate you guys sticking around. Coming up on 2.5 hours. So anything else you guys want to add before we?
Just looking forward to the next one, man.
Yeah, can't wait.
Looking forward
Excited to see how it ends,
to
man.
the next one. I just want to give you guys a brief moment to share what's coming up, with your channel. If there's any content you've been putting out, I know you guys have been putting some stuff out. Mike, I know usually you give a plug for being on some shows. Do you want to speak to that quick here before I let Spotchka and Jedi go?
Yeah, you can catch me at 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 6-figure focus on Monday. Usually every Monday. If I can make it, I'm on there. But if I'm not on there, it's probably a better show, and check it out then too. 3 p.m. Mondays, 1 6-figure focus.
Nice. Jedi, what do you got going on?
Yeah, lots of stuff. We had Wolfpack Wednesday just a couple nights ago where we initiated the newest Wolfpack member, Evil Sneaker.
Don't sleep me, baby.
Finally came out with and 2 channel members on the panel as well. So Spotchka and Mike, thank you so much for your continued support.
And me.
3,
And
yes, 3. Just came out with Cad Bane unboxing and review today. I do have Princess Leia on the cutting board. Just got to put that together, but we'll see what pops up next week. But yeah, just trying to put content out weekly, and that's about it.
Nice. Spotchka, I know you got some stuff. You've been pumping out the content, man.
Been trying, man. I like that Cad Bane
Yeah.
review, by the way. That's some good cinematic.
Yeah, me
shots.
too. Me too. It's
Thank you.
really good.
I got a Peacemaker review coming soon. Hopefully, the Toys by an Agent gets here. I did expedited shipping, so maybe will probably be here. And I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. But I'm waiting for Bloodsport to get here, so I'm gonna hopefully have that review out soon. Devil in the Details episodes out on Fridays after Ahsoka episodes, probably around 4 p.m. I did Luke episode today around 4 p.m. So 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Collecting from the Book of Spotchka on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And
It's been fun, man. Good shows.
Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
I've
been
enjoyed
fun.
it
Thank
as
you
well.
for having me on, by the way. I appreciate all
Oh yeah,
three.
dude. Yeah, happy. Yeah, I hope you had a good time.
Dude, this has been fun, man. What a wild ass episode, and what
I know.
great show. I hope it
Yeah,
ends.
great one to talk about.
Yeah,
I hope that it
Yeah.
contains that slope of just building it up, man. So
yeah.
Right.
Hopefully, and we got 3 episodes left, right?
it better show strong.
Yeah. Yeah, sweet, man. I've kind of talked a lot about what I have going on already in past shows, but I'll kind of chat quick about it. Like I said, go check out the channel announcement video about me partnering with Underground Figures. You guys can always reach out to me with questions about that. Appreciate it. Hit me up on Instagram if you want to, chat about that company. If you have any questions, I'd be more than willing to help. Wolfpack Wednesdays, man. Happy to formally be a member of the Wolfpack. Yes.
When's the
Happy to
next
have
episode
you.
of Collector Tour coming?
What'd you say? Oh, next episode of Collector Tour? That's a great question. I
He
don't
actually
know.
had to quit that to become a member of the Wolfpack. So
Part of the initiation.
They're hazing me. They said you can't do the stream for a month.
But no more.
I do need to get back on that, but I don't want to force myself to do it if I'm just not feeling it. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of just riding the wave of what content I want to do. Probably going to do a collection tour in the near future. Probably within a month, I'm going to probably do that. It's just about finding the time. There's some other content I think I've talked about that I want to do, like the top figures in my collection and some other ideas that I have like that. Just some other pre-recorded content. Not too much focus on live because I'm already doing this. And then Wolfpack is on Wednesdays. Collector Tour I usually do on Mondays. So I'm just trying to, like I said, ride the wave of stuff that I want to actually do and not just push stuff out because I have to. So Collector Tour right now is something I will continue to do, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see when the next episode is coming. But yeah, that's it from me.
Looking forward to that Collector Tour, man.
Yeah.
And the next collection tour, because you've got the ultimate display now. So we need to.
Oh,
yeah,
thanks, bro.
I was gonna say too. I think you really need to focus on that because that's just also a great way to get exposure and get your name out there as well. And
Yeah, I need
people,
to,
people like myself just love watching them. So
I love watching collection tours too, and I love seeing different evolutions of collection tours as well. So I do need to do that. I will probably I'm going to do that soon. The last one just took me a long time to edit, but I'm better now. So I am going to do that soon. I'll probably get Cad Bane first because I want him in it.
that's how I was too. It's like,
everybody
I
else
can
has
do
it.
a tour, but I got this figure coming in, and then it's like, but I got this one coming in another week.
You'll
so I
never
kept
end up
putting
doing
off.
it.
Yeah. I'm getting
so
some
mad I
things,
can't
and
do
then
one 'cause I just did one.
we got a
Miami
lot of
has
stuff.
to
On
Miami's
get a
got
red
a
shirt?
question. You getting your shirt in the mail or what?
I am going to get my shirt. I'll get it probably just, I don't know, pick it up or whatever. We'll link up at some point.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But yeah. All right,
He's
guys.
got one.
I do.
I remember
got
these
one.
shirts too, by the
Got
way,
his name
Graham.
on it.
Make that happen.
I gotta get that.
Gotta get a merch store
If you guys
up.
want to put an order, I can get you one. I'm working with Brick's wife on it, so
I'd rock
I just
it.
don't
Yeah.
have a formal, just go here, click, and put it in type of thing. So
Yeah.
if you guys want something, just let me know.
Yes.
Sweet, man.
Teespring
Well-
or whatever it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Chat, thank you guys so much as always for tuning in and chatting about the episode. That was a lot of fun. Great conversation tonight. That episode. I could talk about it I could do another episode of After Ahsoka and talk about that episode again.
You're
For a
talking
few
about that
hours.
episode in your sleep, bro.
I just sleep.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
Yep.
wake up thinking about this episode.
My wife is so tired of hearing me talking about it.
Yeah, I know. I woke up, I was talking to my wife, that episode last night was just, luckily she's into it too, but.
Mine is too, yeah.
Yeah, so, but it's just But that is enough for tonight. Thank you guys, all of you on the panel. I hope you guys had a great time. Everybody in the
Absolutely.
chat, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
always.
I did include links to all of your stuff in the description this time. Okay, I finally did that. So guys, everybody in the chat, please go check out their channels and follow and subscribe. There's a bunch of, like I said, all their links are down there. That being said, everybody, have a great weekend. Looking forward to the next episode on Tuesday. And we will catch you guys on the next video. See you later.